Futures relatively flat to start out this morning, coming on the back of a huge rally to kick off the holiday shortened week on Monday. We're back to the downside so far this morning. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we'll get the ADP employment change number. And then at 8:30 this morning, a few key economic releases. PPI for September on the month-over-month basis. We'll also get retail sales coming up for September as well. So a couple of key market-moving or potentially market-moving numbers to deal with so far this morning. Lots moving around on the individual basis so far this morning as well. To the upside, ZM, Zoom, nice beat right across the board. Looks pretty good so far this morning. The market, though, starting to weigh a little bit to the downside once again. Meta in focus here. Barely a red candle so far here for Meta on the back of news surrounding Google potentially switching to, I mean, we were just sitting here talking about Google's TPUs yesterday, and then here comes the story with Meta this morning, potentially anyways, kicking the tires on switching from Nvidia over to Google TPUs for AI purposes. But I mean, Meta very strong on that, Google very strong on that so far as well.
Yeah, what's interesting too is that actually some of these chip names, obviously not Nvidia, but Broadcom in particular, are strong in it too, because it shows, hey, maybe not everybody's going to Nvidia, which has been viewed as this undisputed king of the AI space for so long, right? Google has a chance. Now names like Broadcom are seen as having a chance. And it's interesting, you mentioned ZM, of course, with earnings, but ZIM also on watch here, gapping up. They're apparently starting a strategic review because they received a sort of an acquisition proposal. So interesting look here for ticker, starting with Z and all of the Mag 7s pretty much.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be a little bit of a quiet week. I mean, volume-wise, we're still to the downside overall. I mean, yesterday was anyways. We'll see how today goes. But lots to talk about on an individual basis. That's a daily chart of Google right now, just gapping higher almost on a daily basis here. We're back up significantly to start things off once again this morning to the tune of about 4% on this. So mega cap tech, as you were mentioning, Adara, definitely on watch. Again, some macro details to think about this morning as well. Again, PPI coming up. It's the first real reading on inflation, if you want to call it that, in a long time. So we'll bring that to you live when it happens at 8:30. One of the benefits of us coming on a little bit earlier now. Every single morning we can bring these numbers to you live when they happen. Again, 8:15, the employment change, ADP employment change number, and then PPI coming up at 8:30 this morning, guys. Good morning.
Good morning, and
have some numbers.
well, obviously a good morning for Alphabet shareholders. You know who else gets the benefit? SanDisk. Nobody had SanDisk joining the S&P 500.
Oh, is that what's happening?
Kalshi didn't have them joining the S&P 500. I didn't see anybody
Kalshi.
that picked them. Betting markets got that one wrong.
Here we go.
And Randy gets it right as always.
Bananas from the pocket, nice. Like you're pulling out your guns. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Okay.
We go. That's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for that one there.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming.
That's crazy. Well, apparently nobody did, as you said.
No.
You know.
So out of nowhere, SanDisk, which was getting punked a couple of days ago, the stock was down like 20%, and now it's up 5%. Alphabet eyes $4 trillion. Pretty much everything is. I mean, most things are looking pretty flat. I mean, the market's overall flat, but you do have a kernels of strength, and of course, Nvidia kind of taking it to the downside on that news, as well as AMD on this Meta choice of Alphabet for their AI chips. Yeah, so lots in play. Kohl's also reported, NEO reported, Alibaba reported. So you have some earnings names to get through as well. So Chinese stocks on the line. Looking at some NEO today at $6. Yeah, a lot to watch. And of course, we'll have that number at 8:30 for PPI and be able to react to that live instead of, oh no, what's happening? And like reading it out as the show's starting off. So yeah, I like this new start and sort of like what we see in the market. But can we crack that 25,000 wall today? That's
I'm not
the question.
sure today because where Nvidia's going. But yeah, SanDisk right here up 3%. Great news because this is one that I want to short. So if we can get back into this area here, just such a exuberant move. And obviously Micron is part of that as well. Micron moved 8% yesterday. Some of these names I think are coming right back down. And yeah, not a good day to be Nvidia, not a good day to be AMD, but a good day to be Broadcom, a good day to be Google. There's Nvidia again getting smacked a little bit here down into that 175 area. We'll see if there's going to be some hold spots here. But guess what, man? There's more competition now in the space as people flooding to TPU usage from Google. You know, if they can start providing the chips in a deal with Broadcom and can get these over to Meta, then what does that mean for OpenAI and things? Like if OpenAI had a stock, I don't even know how much that would have been down yesterday and today off of this kind of news. But there goes Broadcom right there. Like what a monster now, taking out all-time highs here today and just smoking hot here, Broadcom and Google. And I mean, Google was just a $140 stock, 6-8 months ago. You're 332 here today. And as Brendan said, it just keeps on ripping. It's just an absolute amazing story here for Google and their shareholders. And I was saying that Nano Banana is incredible. I was telling that to Brendan there, the image generation there for Google and everything. Mark Benioff from Salesforce said he used ChatGPT hundreds of times a day, doesn't even open it anymore, only uses Gemini. So, as this starts to happen, I just feel that, Google has just so much upside here. I think it's overdone. I could see a pullback, but not today. Google just continues to work, man. I don't know. It's 330 right now. I have it trying to think about some levels to get in, but I think it's just about watching it and see if there's going to be some levels built, because now it's blue skies. I mean, it's 4%. And you got so much more competition for Nvidia now because Alibaba comes out with a great report.
It's not just Alphabet.
Happy with Baba.
They're coming at Nvidia, but that's the thing. If you are the king and if you're at the top and you have all of the market share, then at some point the competition is going to come at you, and it's a matter of where things end up settling. I think it can be a little troubling for AMD because like how much market share did AMD finagle before the competition comes at Nvidia? I mean, they're second fiddle. They're supposed to be taking that market share. And if it's going to other places, I think that's part of the reason why you'll see AMD actually down more than NVIDIA and continuing to look weak. It's down 5.5%. NVIDIA is down 4%. And I think that that narrative of, well, they were supposed to be anointed next. And if it's not them, then are we filling this gap in?
Yes.
On AMD? Because that's what I'm sort of thinking here. Yeah, so I'm looking, it's weird because I'm looking, it's not weird, but I'm looking AMD short, not NVIDIA today. It maybe doesn't matter, but that's the one I'm thinking, because that story for them seems like it could almost be worse in a lot of ways here. And then, of course, you mentioned Alibaba, still holding the gains, only 3% now. It was where it was. Yeah, it was like 5%, I think, at one point in the pre-market as that's gapping higher, and then NEO also reporting. And we don't want to sleep on Tesla either. Say that nice and quietly after that big rally they had yesterday. Not a big story for them. There's some minor lawsuit you'll see we'd like to think minor lawsuit that's going to be in the watch list when you check that one out. But couldn't quite break away from that 420 yet. So this is on the back burner. So I think if we take 25K and we have that upward momentum, there's just a little bit more room that this can have if we're able to take out that top.
The only names I've written down on my sticky note so far, Nvidia, Tesla, and AMD. So I think we just covered most of those right there, looking to see some Apple love. I feel like the move may be a little overdone here on NVIDIA, but remember, we kept on talking about the circular financing, and it's like if all of a sudden OpenAI, which makes no money apparently, something happens with that, there's going to be a huge problem in NVIDIA world, and I think that's what people are gearing up for. I mean, look, I don't want to be, bearer of bad news here or anything like that, but, you really haven't moved at all here for 6 months or so on NVIDIA now, right? We had that great move up to $200. This is just a daily chart. You're still up nicely on the year. I mean, you could have done worse investing somewhere else this year. But NVIDIA, still a monster, still has all that revenue, and I don't worry about it. Just when competition comes in, we do get shrinking margins in NVIDIA, and that's going to create a little bit of a problem here for them as we start to see, like, the trend is your friend, right? I mean, this is just not good. So I do have an NVIDIA short looking at that if we can get that somewhere. But I mean, now we're just moving lower here. So some of these levels that I wrote down, like I wrote down AMD, if we can get back up to that like 208, 210 area, you're nowhere near that anymore. So like 208, like what the hell just happened to AMD in the last 2 minutes, basically? Like This last 5 minutes has been brutal. Like, I wrote down 208 to 210.
Oops.
Like, well, okay. Like, yeah, puff, puff, pass on that, unless the market just starts to rally. But the thing is that, Brendan, and you mentioned it as well, we do have coming out today quite a nice set of economic numbers, right? And so you can get it on the watch list that's coming out here. I tweeted it out. This is 8:30 PPI all over the place, right? And so we're going to get all that core retail sales coming as well, then consumer confidence and pending home sales. So these are all exciting little numbers that are going to be coming out here and should affect, of course. But the thing is like this number here that we're looking for, let's see if we can get a little refresh action here
81.
on the Fed. Yeah, so it's 83. Like, again, used to be 29%. We talked about that. It was 90% that we were getting a cut just a month ago. And right now you're up to 90% again here for that cut. So that's nice. So we can resume sort of, trying to take out that 25,000 there on the Nasdaq as it looks more and more likely that we get that Fed rate cut. And then, heading into January, we can just extend this all the way out. January, another chance there, 22% chance for another quarter in January. So, the Fed rate cut cycle starts to happen soon, and hopefully that starts kicking with that cut. I mean, we've already started it, but we can get back to that cycle now. Nvidia just took down 175. You looked at silver the other day, but like, what is gold doing? I mean, we have the US dollar, 380. Okay, it's better than it was yesterday. We had the US dollar moving around yesterday as well, and then the VIX was up to 23, and I think closed around 19. The TSX, the Nasdaq had like 2.6% day yesterday. It was an absolute monster recovery day, only putting us now down about 3%, 3 to 4% from its highs. So I think we're okay, after all here. But this is not a great story for Nvidia. But it's nice to see that Nvidia is down 4% and the market's flat.
Yeah,
that's good for the market.
Because you have enough strength. Because Google and Meta and probably Apple are going to offset that. The other thing to consider here is, and I just saw this in the chat.
This is flat.
Who made it? It's Delmont. More competition means more discounts, and in theory, should mean some depressed margins for potentially Nvidia, but it does mean that your CapEx spend can get potentially cheaper, right? So that's something to keep an eye on maybe for next quarter. Like, do you see any revisions on CapEx for some savings? That could be interesting, but Meta getting that bump and also breaking that trend, looking pretty good in here. And for everyone out there, just a reminder, this is not temporary, this 8 o'clock. It's absolutely permanent for all the questions. Hey, the stream started early today. Well, we're 8 o'clock every single day that the market is open. So today, tomorrow, obviously not on Thursday, and then again on Friday, and going forward. It's about that 8 a.m. start. And as always,
tell your friends. We got like 1,400 watching. We need to get more people up in here. Yeah, exactly.
And Wayne Griffin in the chat. I always call somebody out because I let you call me out when I type. If I type a symbol in the chat, and I don't use the $, then I want to get roasted for it. So if you do, then see that nice little board you have behind us, which has Alphabet and Nvidia and A&F and Broadcom and Apple's on there. Those are the names that are the most highly mentioned, but only if you type that $. So hit the like, hit the subscribe so you can be in the chat, and then drop that $sign in there. And I'll just say maybe, what's the symbol that people aren't talking about that's up 25%? I just typed KSS, so it'll probably pop in there somewhere. Kohl's having a big day after the earnings. Lots to cover. Let's get back up to desk. And I believe we also have Mitch at some point this morning.
It's going to come through probably around 8:30, just after that data we get coming out this morning. So we'll check in with him on a couple things he's watching this morning. About 2 minutes ago here, we'll get this ADP employment change number as well. Again, as we were saying yesterday, it's not significant from the sense that, unless it's way outside what is expected, typically doesn't cause quite any move really in the overall market. Expected, or prior anyways, was negative 2,500. So we'll see what happens here coming up in about 2 minutes. I was just checking with the Fed Fund futures, and they actually did go up yesterday. So I was just calculating there off camera before we came back here, the percentage change. It's still around 4%. Fed Fund futures are priced on the actual Fed funds rate, not the expectation of the change. So it's still pricing in around 4%. So we'll see what happens. Maybe after this PPI data this morning could change things.
Yeah, I think PPI data is going to be key, but what's interesting, Brendan, is I've kind of noticed lately it's relied a lot on what the Feds themselves have been saying, right? That's when you usually get these changes. Like we had a lot of caution coming from Fed's Cook on Thursday. We get a massive decrease. Then we got Fed's Williams coming out Friday morning saying that he sees the case for a cut. And then again, the chances of a cut go up. We had Fed's Waller and Daly yesterday both saying that they could see a case for that December cut, specifically with regards to labor weakness. So with that in mind, I think this ADP number is going to be interesting. Employment is one of the biggest things the Fed is watching right now, maybe more than inflation.
Yeah, we're just keeping an eye out here for this. A couple more seconds, and we'll get this number here again. At 8:15, the prior number was negative 2,500 on that ADP employment change number. It's worth noting Scott Bessent speaking currently on a wide range of topics. It's his daily TV spot. It's almost turning into now, but I mean, he's talking anywhere from Ukraine to Mamdani, it looks like, in New York, and the situation with that. Now he's back on the Fed governor situation. But as you were saying, there was Mirren speaking. Fed's Mirren was speaking a little bit earlier. I'm not sure if that is still taking place, but still some comments rolling through.
Yeah, I think one thing that was pretty interesting that Scott Bessent did address was Trump basically saying that he would fire Bessent over not firing Powell last Wednesday. Bessent has now clarified that was a joke. So that was probably, I think, one of the most interesting highlights of that series of comments. But we know that Fed's Myron is, or Mirren, however you pronounce his name, he is by far the most dovish member of the Fed, so certainly keep an eye out when he speaks. But yeah, either way, I think this December 10th meeting is going to be really interesting. We're continuing to see that division in the Fed, and yeah, I mean, as always, Scott Bessent comments kind of worth noting too with regards to how the Trump admin is viewing the economy at that time.
I don't know what to tell you. It's. I think they're still trying to figure out these releases and the timing of said releases. I just saw. Oh, there it is. Finally coming through here. Negative 13,500 on a different screen. I'm just looking. Negative 13,500. Again, the prior number there was negative 2,500. So this one not populating, but a little bit delayed there, guys, for that ADP employment change number.
Yeah, I see it there. Negative 13 versus minus 2.5. It doesn't really, this one doesn't move the future. Like you're actually, we're still basically exactly where we were. So I think 8:30 is going to be a little more important with that PPI. Certainly, I think right now, the thing to track, at least going into the next 10, 15 minutes is there even a bottom right now, and what starts to form in Nvidia, both Nvidia and AMD? Like they're both still looking pretty weak here. 201.5 on an AMD, down 6.25. Nvidia 4 1/3, 174. I just want to double check, see if I would make the load up. Yeah, the assumption SMCI is also kind of rolling over a little bit, down 2% here. So it is sort of a tale of, we're going to be flat on the market because you have so much weakness in specific areas. CoreWeave only down 2%. That's interesting. I would have thought that CoreWeave might get hit a little bit harder on this Nvidia pullback. I suppose part of the story is going to be how far they've already fallen. So yeah, I understand that we care about the labor market a little bit more going into the next meeting, but we're at 83%, and that number is not going to move the needle. We'll see if PPI does much of anything to us, but I think right now it's got to be the chips that are leading the way, or some of the earnings names. So that doesn't really change my focus at 8:15 here. If we challenge that 25,000 number at 8:30, I think that'll be a bigger story. And I guess Baba's making some moves back up. This was pulling in the gap. This almost gave up everything pre-market, Alibaba, after their earnings beat. Big time cloud growth for them.
Yeah, it's. I really like Alibaba. I was just looking at it here to see if it can hold, and it looks like it is doing that. Some beat up names though in the crypto space, continue to look to rally as well. I mean, Coinbase right now down today. I mean, we were watching out for Bitcoin, but this is another one that's been beat up pretty good. That had some nice momentum there yesterday. So we can see if Coinbase can sort of pick up off that 250 level right there. IBIT, I mean, we can look, it's 87.6 right here, but IBIT's going to be down 1% or so heading into today as well, 1.6%. So that's going to try to battle again, like, these $49 areas. I think we could, see a little bit of a rally back there in crypto today as well. But like a name that we never really talk about that I think is just going to get, honestly, Intel's in a completely different game. They're not in this high, networking sort of area that AI chips seem to be in right now. So not having too much of an effect on Intel today, any of these stories. So we'll have to wait to see if there's a story or if there's a play here for Intel. Of course, U.S. government taking a stake and nicely bouncing off of that 33 back up to 36. So this is looking pretty interesting. But like, why not rotate, out of Intel and into Broadcom or something like that? But Broadcom, you always hate buying stocks that are so high. And right there, like Broadcom, you had such a great opportunity just 2 days ago to buy this name at, 2 days ago, you buy this name at 340. It's now up 15%, in 2 days. So this just continues to work itself out. And then the big beneficiary apparently now is Meta. They can find maybe a cheaper alternative here to OpenAI to Nvidia, and get their data build outs here with some Google chips that they've been talking about, or the new TPU processing from Google and Broadcom. So there goes Meta again, making dip buyers in that $580 to $600 area happy that that's making a rebound back up. So I really like that. I mean, the big one that I talked about yesterday, you can get all of this wrapped up in this MAGS. This is the MAG 7 here, a round hill ETF. So if you're not sure what to choose, and you like Amazon, you like all these names, you could just grab this ETF and you get it sort of 14% of each with a small dividend. We talked about that yesterday. I think that's a good way of playing this without having to necessarily pick a winner and enjoy the move up. Of course, you're going to pay a little small management fee to that as well. Not sponsored by Roundhill or anything, but I do like that opportunity to get a little bit of diversification in your portfolio away from individual names if you want to get those 7. It's similar to the way the Nasdaq's going to move. But here's Amazon. This is why picking single stock is also a very good opportunity. Like there's the 200 period, 200 period, 200 period, 200 period. It's like you just got an opportunity to buy this name at let's even 220, 215 low side there. So yeah, Amazon working out again from here. Like last time we hit the 200 period, we went back up to all-time highs. Came back in, hit the 200 period again. So you're a couple stories away now from Amazon, being, what if the story today was Amazon chooses to use Google? Then that would have been up. So that could be tomorrow's story. Amazon looking to diversify out of Nvidia and maybe get over to Google. And next thing you know, that's going to pop up like Meta. So there's a lot of stories in the market here to watch. I think to get diversified away from these chip names is a good idea, but right now they're still pretty hot. You just got to pick the right winners. Looks like most of these Mag 7 names continue to work out. And we didn't even talk about the check that Google's probably going to write Apple. So Apple, remember Apple getting that deal with Gemini? Okay, so first of all, Adair, was that even I don't even know if there was even a deal there or not, or that was just talk. Yeah, because now all of a sudden Apple is going to get somebody to write them a check for their install base for Gemini, just like they give them $20 billion. Google gives Apple $20 billion for the install of Chrome. So now if they can get Gemini talking with Siri properly, and all these things, man, that Nano Banana Pro is crazy. I was fooling around with that last night. And now you have possible integration into Siri. This is just going to be, honestly, I'm really excited for Apple moving forward. And it's not doing anything today. So we'll just have to keep our money tight to the vest right now and see what ends up happening. I mean, I hope no one sold too much over the last couple of days. But that doesn't mean that this Nasdaq's going up here. I mean, the Nasdaq right now is flat today.
Well, that's the problem.
And, there's some stocks up, some stocks down.
Well, if you want to diversify, throw out the super chat. What's crazy about this PW, I swear, I promise, I actually had Eli Lilly up because Sean was talking about the Mag 7. Right. I was about to say, why aren't we throwing these guys in there? What's going on with Lilly? Skyrocketed the past year. Well, there is a very clear and obvious winner in the GLP space. Novo is not it. And so Lilly also has they got a deeper pipeline as well, right? So they're not just, they're going because of the GLPs, but they also have a better base. So it's double bad news for Novo, which is piling on bad news. Again, Lilly's just crushing them and outperforming in the GLP. They're getting better results. So right now, they are like the one-stop shop. You've got to think about them. This is not the AI race that we're talking about, but they are the Nvidia at this current moment. And so they're just continuing to make highs. It's now a $1 trillion company. All of the things, I can't really say enough about them. And the momentum is pretty spectacular. And as I said before, some of this has to do with if we go back a year or so ago when it was them and or Novo, and it's that when that shift happened, all you've seen is one in a very steady uptrend, the other in a very steady downtrend. And they're just going in oppo directions. And yeah, one used to be the darling here, Novo, and unfortunately just can't seem to put in a bottom. So there you go. Eli Lilly, just an absolute beast, but much to the demise, it looks like. Well, I mean, at some point, you got to figure Novo at some point has to be good to find a bottom. I mean, like, they're not.
Well, the problem is they just missed that Alzheimer's drug.
Yeah,
and, you know, if you miss, like you come at the king and miss, that's not what Google did, but
that's their
you
problem.
could see Novo. You know, I mean, Eli Lilly is a wonder drug. And, you know, they've got it. And a lot of people have this GLP stuff, but it's first mover advantage. And Eli Lilly apparently has more pipeline to it. So, you know, I agree with you. I think that, you know, take some profit on Lilly and maybe put it into Novo at these levels. I don't think it's the end of the world, but I don't know enough about the two companies to make a move like that. That's why, honestly, you guys know, I mean, it was back when Brendan and I were, you know, we were sort of doing that podcast and things like that. And we were talking about, you know, different ETFs and things. And I remember talking about XBI, and that was something that just with the aging population in biotech with AI, I mean, think about AI as far as biotech is concerned as well. I mean, the fact that you can, and this is, you know, way back, this is 2020, Moderna got that vaccine, depending on how you want to look at these things, in less than 24 hours, when some of these things will take forever to build out. And that's just one small, stupid example that maybe I shouldn't have even used. But, you know, XBI upside there, making everything cost basis. Hopefully AI can trim costs on development of new drugs, can help, you know, figure out the different side effects quicker and all these, again, obviously I'm no doctor here or scientist, but I really like XBI. And I mean, I just look around and unfortunately the population, you know, continues to get older and people are living longer and, you know, this generation, some generation anyways, X and Z and all this, you know, there's a lot of money out there that people can pay for treatments and stuff. And unfortunately, you're seeing that with the GLP-1s. I mean, it's like $400 or $500 a month or something like that. And these guys can't sell enough of them.
Well, it's also, the thing about it too, is it's going to be the kind of thing, and they're already sort of finding this, that they'd have other benefits. And on top of that, the GLPs are going to be able to maybe alleviate some other diseases when you tackle obesity. So it ends up cutting costs in other ways too, which will help it to be something that is possibly at even higher prices, cost effective. For medical plans. So it's almost 8:30. I know we're going to have, we have PPI coming in about 2 or 3 minutes, and of course we're going to have Mitch coming through. So then PPI is going to be old data, but we'll take all the data we can get because we were starved for about a month and a half. So with only a couple minutes to go, usually we'd be starting out, but now we've already kind of worked in and got the lay of the land before this number, Brendo.
Yeah, exactly. We can tee it up and get a little bit deeper into the actual details when they do come out. Just real quick, I saw Spotify pop up here. A couple of people were mentioning it. Price hike. Their annual price hike has come around on the calendar once again. So just be aware of that. Spot trading higher. I mean, it's a big $600-700 stock. So heads up on Spotify this morning. AMTM was another one chat was mentioning a couple of times. That was a beat, an earnings beat right across the board. They raised their guidance as well. So yeah, there's a few on the earnings calendar. We mentioned Zoom, another one. Pretty positive here. Sharif's off until Friday, but he's a big Spotify guy and loves his Spotify. He won't be happy about this increase.
Yeah, I famously am not on Spotify. As some people know, I actually just download songs and albums off of iTunes. So I'm not familiar here with the pricing, but I think it is worth noting here, Brendan, this is like the first major decision we've heard from the company's new CEO team. I mean, they haven't started until January 1st, 2026. We've got about another month, but much like Oracle, they're going with the 2 CEO strategy. So we're gonna get Alex Nordstrom and Gustav Soderstrom starting here just over a month. This should be interesting to see how now as we get more companies with this dual CEO strategy. Apparently Disney's even considering it for the replacement of Bob Iger. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes into effect and what kind of decisions they make. But yeah, price increase for something like this, not super surprising.
Yeah, and I think this was planned. I mean, I remember talking about the founder, you know, with this announcement stepping down and going to a chairman type of role, going back to the beginning of this year. So yeah, I mean, guys, Spotify is one of those stocks that just kind of hangs out here. There's so many alternatives at this point. I am a YouTube Premium subscriber, so ever since I did that, I have not been back on Spotify since. And I just, for me anyways, the algorithm on YouTube Premium or in YouTube Music seems to be better fit and a better suit. Sean, I know you're an Apple Music kind of guy, but I mean, what does this leave, or where does this leave Spotify?
I also YouTube Premium, and I don't use Spotify either. So I don't. Look, I'm not going to be buying this stock on the way down. I'll leave it. Again, maybe there's a really good reason why things are going to be absolutely fine for them. I can't figure it out because all the big boys got. We didn't even talk about Amazon's got Amazon Music as well, and they just keep pushing it. And when you think about that, I don't know if this is found a bottom yet. Like, sure, the market is bouncing, but this is like from the highs. You're $200 from the highs. Like, it's almost 27, something like that, % from the highs. You've lost the 200 period. This really key level at 620 also got lost as well. So I'm pretty bearish on them, and I don't think I'd be buying the dips in Spotify. Just for me, I just see way too much competition for them, and technically it doesn't look very good.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's that whole thing that Brendan said there. It's like, what extra value is Spotify adding? Because if you get the YouTube Premium, then if you are a YouTube user, you also don't have to watch commercials. I mean, it's good to know that, Brendan, the algorithm was pretty good for there as well. We do have let's go back over to the desk because we should have these PMI numbers and we can get them to you. I see retail sales right now slightly lower. So do you guys want to cover that? Okay, let's go.
Screen here, PPI month over month for September, 0.3% to the upside. Prior was negative 0.1%, so definitely a positive move. Retail sales for September comes in to the upside as well, 0.2%. Forecast was 0.3%, so a little bit of a miss. Core PPI for September, still waiting on that number to populate on this screen. Retail sales, a little bit negative. We were expecting 0.4% to the upside, comes out a little bit negative there, 0.1%. On a miss. The PPI September number overall also a little bit to the upside, 149.7 versus 149.4. And if we keep going down here, the year over year number for retail sales, guys, 4.3% versus 3.9%. So retail still strong. But yeah, go ahead. Finish your thought there, Sean.
The SPY came out, the PPI came out as expected. You're not seeing really anything going on here in the Nasdaq. So we'll hold out that, maybe some retail names. We'll talk about Kohl's. So no, I was just saying it's like what is Spotify offering right now? I mean, they talked about getting the podcasts over into YouTube as well. So some of the premium content that maybe people were paying up for Joe Rogan or whatever, some of that is now being shared all over the place. So the cross-platform benefit of Spotify is awesome because if you are on, whether or not you're on a PC, you're on an Android, hey, there he is, whatever you're using your music on, it's all the same. You just got to get comfortable with something. And we have the Apple family plan in my household. So that gets you Apple TV. Shout out to Pluribus. It gets you, that 3 gigabytes of storage. There's so much included in the in that world that, Apple Music for me is all that we use in my family. So all 4 kids, five of us have, actually it's perfect because I think you can have 5 users. So all 5, intertwined in that. And I think it's like $40 or $50 a month. And that gets you the Apple TV, the Apple streaming services, both online, all the games that they have, the workout stuff. Like this is all stuff that's free everywhere else, but it's nice to have it all packaged in one space, right? And then hopefully Siri can start playing nice with Gemini and they can get it all worked in. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think Spotify is, I don't want to call it a dinosaur or anything like that because obviously the technology is still there. But yeah, why are people still in it when there's different alternatives?
That's why.
And I just think if people start penny pinching, they might look and say, hey, we already are YouTube premiums. Why do we have Spotify? And then it just goes to be, what's the one you cut? It's probably Spotify. But
that's where I'm at. Like I'll admit, like I probably kept Spotify a little bit longer than I needed to after getting YouTube Premium, but not much. Right. Like what am I doing here? It just didn't make any sense. No, but let's talk. Obviously, the retail number is not going to be that big of a deal. And we're going to have Mitch coming on in a quick little second. But a couple people did mention Kohl's, and I do see, behind me on the board, I can tell you that Kohl's is top of the list on our visualizer. So it's of interest to everybody here. 28% on an earnings beat for Kohl's here. And you always have to remember with Kohl's that part of the factor is always going to be that short float. It comes in today. Let me just double check. What does it come in today as? 37%.
Jesus, what the?
Okay, well, that's higher than I thought it was going to be. I knew it has, look, we know Kohl has a short float, but 37% short. And my guess is, and this is not scientific or anything, but when you're up 27%, probably some of those shorts aren't feeling too good about that this morning. So I think that's a good thing for anyone that's a little bit bullish. You can see that the turnaround has been pretty solid for them. So Kohl's, we'll go over this. It's going to be on the watch list, but you get that beat plus that 37 points, and it's been uptrending all morning. There hasn't even been like just very, very steady eddy uptrending. Not even a real test of VWAP outside these dark pool wicks in there. But very, very strong name. That's a way bigger short float than I thought. I thought it was in the 20s.
I asked this JL in the chat there. I think it was Jay Lee from before. I'm not sure. No, he just said that he thinks Netflix, and I didn't get the answer. I asked him about it. Said that Netflix might challenge Google for something. I don't know what that was. So I meant to ask that. So if you're in the chat, I did ask it, and we started talking, and I forgot to look. I was interested in that theory because I want to hear what Netflix has to do with any of this stuff. Yeah, Dick's Sporting Goods the other way. So there it goes, man. You know, getting hit to the downside. This is one of my favorite stores to go in when we're visiting the United States. A, because it's not, you know, Ulta Beauty or anything like that. So, and B, they just have such a great selection of like everything. Their hockey kind of sucks, but great selection of most other sports. And yeah, interested to see if this, you know, gets back into some of these levels down here. Dick's Sporting Goods. So it's like Kohl's going one way, these guys the other. As the story with this company is, of course, they bought out Foot Locker, and they had closed a couple Foot Locker stores. So maybe not seeing the investment potentially in footwear or, you know, leisure clothing or whatever Foot Locker is selling these days. Potential downside there for Dick's Sporting Goods. So just another name to look at as we go. So I'm going to check the chat to see if we could talk about that Netflix story. But if you're watching, let me know what you meant by that. By the way, Nvidia just broke 175 again. Like, this market is coming back in. Not heavily, but, you know, we're testing VWAP right now. You're down 0.2. The Emperor has a lot of clothing, but getting a little more naked by the day. Down to 175 right now for Nvidia. And then, man, we watch out to see if this bubble can pop here on AMD, because that's $200. And it's us staring that right in the face, like right now. So we'll have to watch out for that. We do have plans of Trade the Pool and Money Mitch coming through soon, and hopefully he'll be talking about some of these trade ideas as well. You know, yesterday we didn't look too much at SMR or Rigetti or any of those kind of high flyers. Maybe today's a good day to get back onto that.
I wonder if he talks about the healthcare names, like Oscar yesterday, because I feel like on a day like today, you know, with the news with Meta and Alphabet and the run that they're on, obviously you've got earnings, you've got earnings from Baba, from Neo, from Kohl's, from Dick's. These names could get lost in the shuffle today. And Oscar was an absolute rock. It was up 20% at one point, I think, at the highs in yesterday's trade. You had other names were going as well, MOH, UNH was moving around. But certainly as a day two type play, should not get ignored. Regain the 200 period. Look at that key 16 support, like 16, kind of gapped underneath the 16 level. As long as you hold on to that, I think you got an opportunity here for another rally. And it's in a space where if it ends up a weak tech day, which we've seen a lot of those, then you don't necessarily have to worry about this following and cratering, because its space could be good. So yeah, I'm going to have Oscar on the radar as well, but the 16 is going to be key. The fact that the news story was yesterday and doesn't have a ton of extra volume does mean I want to wait to see it when it opens up. Now, the other thing too is, before 9:30, the day after a big index reshuffling like the MSCI, where you had millions and millions on the imbalances, so a bunch of stocks were moving pretty heavily at the close, oftentimes it just makes me want to wait an extra beat or two after the open, certainly for New York stocks, make sure it's opened up before I've traded it, and then give it a couple of minutes to maybe settle things down, because you had a lot of action on imbalances and big time volume in the last couple of minutes on several names. You know, Oscar actually had an imbalance of its own. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit more patient, but this one is for sure going to be on the radar as well. And keep coming. Ooh, I see some people are taking shots at Kohl shorting it in the chat.
Oh, in the chat, eh?
Yeah, if you,
I mean, I don't mind that short percent.
It's pulled back. We brought it up. It's like, oh, it hasn't challenged VWAP. It like promptly broke 20 and is now underneath VWAP. Can't even make that stuff up. So yeah, good luck with that. Obviously, 37% short float. I'm usually looking for a place where the momentum will get me in, whether it's a mean reversion or holding VWAP early for Kohl's. So we'll see. ANF also moving. That's another name. See, there's a lot. Abercrombie as well. Another one we didn't even get a chance to talk about. That's almost 20%. I was going to say it was 20% earlier. So another big time runner here with ANF. And this is distinctly different from Kohl's. This is a true bottom that's forming here on ANF. So yeah, lots to watch, especially in this retail space. Lots of retail earnings.
And we do have a great segment that we've obviously started off here, and we're glad to have Joe with us. So as we wait for Mitch, we're going to go over to Joe, as I see on his screen. IBIT. We've got some call action talking about it. So let's go talk about some options action with our good friend Joe.
All right, guys, happy Tuesday, and I hope everyone's having a fantastic morning. A lot of activity going on yesterday and most definitely today with some earnings reports. But first, let's get into some of the options activity that I found outstanding in hitting the volume scanners. Yes, that is going to be IBIT, and you can see that Bitcoin got a little bit of a rebound in yesterday's session when we had lows of around $80,000 and trading up to around $87,000. But aside from that, guys, we might be finding a ceiling in Bitcoin around $55. And why do you say that? Because we're sitting around 53,400 contracts still currently open that expired this Friday. I think that's something to note. I mean, we can get that magnet effect and run into those levels, but that might be the ceiling for this week. But then we'll look and maybe if that options activity seems to cool down, we might be in for a little bit more of a bounce, but I'm looking at that as a resistance zone. All right, that's going to be expiring Friday. Now, as for Google, continuing to climb higher, and I found this extremely interesting. We're going to have to go all the way to December 19th, and this is where we're going to see the most options activity in GOOGL, with 24,800 contracts still currently open, and with 3,790 contracts traded at that strike price and expiration cycle yesterday. I think that's really important to note. So 335, especially up after that gap up this morning, is definitely in the works by that date. Now, Rigetti as well, too, finding a bottom, guys, expiring this Friday. $28 may be in action as well, too, with open interest sitting around 2,120 and volume around 3,130. Now, as for some of the other activity, we know we had a nice grinding bid yesterday and not much of a short coming into play. Well, now let's take a look at that at the 610 strike price that expires this Friday. Now you can see that the bid and the ask, the spread there is relatively wide for the Qs. I think that's going to tighten up a little bit. We're looking at $4 approximately there, and the at the money IV sitting around 19.9%. I think that's relatively high. But if you take a look at our pop here, guys, our probability of profit, it's only sitting around 30%, and that's a long call. So essentially what we have here is the option market also telling us that there's a 70% chance that we will not hit that specific level being 610 by this Friday. Our delta sitting around 0.371, so you're going to get a $37 change for every $1 change in the underlying, and then the gamma activity, relatively cool for now, guys. Keep an eye out on some of these key levels. I think they might be in play.
I think a lot of people are going to have some Bitcoin on their mind and crypto on their mind as well. I mean, even Rigetti it's another name that might fly under the radar because of the rally that those have had, but there's no specific news there. But Bitcoin, unfortunately, lost this 88 level, maybe not for good, but certainly we're looking a little bit tepid to start the morning here for Bitcoin. So I'm kind of thinking back to the potential short if we don't hold 88. Like I'm using that as like an over-under for me because as far as I was concerned, I thought that any break of 88 was going to maybe take us a little closer to 90, but that prior resistance, we're right back underneath it. It's right in here, and we're kind of consolidating this morning underneath 88. So if we don't break out that top, then I'm favoring shorts and IBIT and Mara. If we break out 88, then I think it's a reversal kind of day. And the willingness to reverse, I think you've needed the last couple of days, maybe not even the last couple, like the last few trading sessions, that's been pretty important. And that's why I like to have these key levels where I know, hey, if we're trading underneath it, then I don't want any part of Mora to the long side. I got to be looking for those shorts off VWAP, et cetera. And if we start breaking out, then either I take IBIT on its own, or might have a look at something I think could be a little bit stronger. I know some viewers have said like they like RIOT. I'd probably stick with IBIT long myself if we can hold above that 88. So that 15-minute chart's going to be key for me here. And the other thing about it too is nothing about the daily chart yet suggests much of anything positive, right? Like losing this 88 here, a retest of the low still very much in play. And then a chance to get those mid-70s, which I'm still hoping to get stink bid on that. And Bitcoin hasn't happened yet, but there's still plenty of time.
Oh, yeah. Bitcoin is not done moving for sure, but 87,000 is pretty nice. I just want to say, like, Tesla is coming back in pretty nicely right now, too. Like, there's Tesla just pulling back $4 right here. Just going red on the day, on the morning, is Tesla, but also the Nasdaq is starting to tick down off of that 25,000 here. So, yeah, not going to be a great well, we still have 45 minutes till the open. That's the thing about us starting now at 8 o'clock. I mean, we're going to be able to analyze things as we come into the open. We're going to have the numbers faster for you and just live data all over the place. So make sure you tell everybody you know that Trader TV Live is now starting at 8 a.m. So, and we're very happy to do that also. Just giving you guys different looks here early and gives us an opportunity to talk a little bit differently about some different names and just more detail about maybe what we're looking at and some of the themes here early every single day, except Thursday, which is, of course, Thanksgiving. But there goes Tesla to the downside. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Joe may finally try pumpkin pie, but we'll see.
Right, Joe?
Yes.
No.
Someone will. Joe, what if we brought in pumpkin pie?
I mean, I'll try it if you guys. If it's like,
all right, done.
No, I may as well
cut his mic. Cut his mic.
You already got yes.
Cut the mic. We already got the answer. So right there, we will. Thanks, Joe, for coming. Mic cut.
Pumpkin pie is delicious.
You can try apple pie too. I mean, mince meat pie. There's lots of different opportunities here for Joe.
I think if he's okay. So Joe has never had pie. So he claims in his entire life.
I mean, it's Thanksgiving.
It's Thanksgiving, so I would say pumpkin pie. But if it's your first time, maybe something classic like an apple could be good. That's the only thing I would think. Maybe an apple pie because it's a classic. But for Thanksgiving, pumpkin, pecan is generally where you want to go.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's just me.
You got to have that pumpkin pie, man.
Adara's saying she's got, here we go. Someone with Quebecois ancestry, I recommend meat pies.
Yeah, of course, mincemeat pie. My wife is French, Italian, so we've had mincemeat pie many times. And that's not my favorite, but that's
a la mode for apple
a la mode,
pie.
yeah. I mean, you can get a little Cool Whip as well on there if you wanted to.
Cool Whip?
Cool Whip. On there, that reminds me of I think it was it Family Guy?
I watched Seth MacFarlane was doing an interview one time, and the interviewer was just like, "Yo, can you do the Cool Whip thing?" And he's just like, "Do it right now." Yeah. It's both Brian and Stewie, and he instantly just did the whole thing. Yeah. Completely perfect. That his voice talent is unbelievable. And Stewie is one of the funniest characters
that's the thing
in history.
Always gonna do that whenever we talk about that tasty treat. Okay, Mitch looks like. Mitch probably had some pie. Probably had some Cool Whip.
Mitch is having pumpkin pie on Thursday.
I would think so. I would think he's gonna be probably watching a little bit of football, having some pie, maybe some turkey. We're gonna ask Mitch. Mitch is gonna come on. Mitch, let's just say you had turkey, and then you had a choice between ham or a roast, like a nice beef. So I'm gonna pass that back over to the desk, and we're gonna get his answer there, because I think turkey at Thanksgiving is gonna be number one traditionally, but I like a little roast action on the side as well. But all right, without any further ado, it's 8:48. Thank you, everybody. We are starting early at 8 a.m., but right on time is Mitch from Trade the Pool.
I see he's potentially disagreeing here, so let's get to it.
What's going on, guys? There's nothing to disagree. There's so many good foods to choose from.
Yeah, but are you a turkey guy or what's happening?
Turkey. Okay. I'm always a turkey guy. Got to make the gravy, and I make it, right? I get chefed out at least for Thanksgiving.
Oh boy.
So of course I would say turkey, but another option that isn't talked about often. What about like a duck? Ooh.
I'm down with that. Or a turducken? Yeah. Have you ever gone down that road? The turducken?
You guys get them in. you guys get them locally, right? Right there in Canada, right? We get them shipped down, right? But yeah, that could be a way to go about it.
I'm
but
down.
Always the honey bake ham company. I don't know if you guys have ever tried that before. Oh, amazing. I'm sure the chat's going to blow up on that
Right.
one.
Right.
But you got to have your pumpkin pie. That's number one.
I'm getting hungry here, Mitch. Let's get back to the market here. A couple more days until we can feast out this way. Let's talk about this rally that continues. I mean, when everybody thought AI was going to sleep here comes some actually really big market-moving AI-related headlines. Start with that. What do you think here as far as big tech goes?
I think it's all about timing, right? We talked about this about 2 or 3 weeks ago, that you might have a little bit of some rut going into the Black Friday, then a little bit of a pickup this week, right? So I'll call this the Black Friday rally, right? Of course, the AI names are helping with this, but I think it's more about just seeing beaten down names that are seeing a nice little 2-day relief rally. Now the question is, do we go into these day 3 moves? And with the market getting this AI backing, right, this news, this could keep the big boys moving in a direction that could lift the market overall, even though Nvidia down, right? What we're going to look at, can Google, can Broadcom, can others hold the market up, even with AMD and Nvidia taking a major beating?
All right, you had a number of different names here to get through. Just from a higher perspective here, going into the holiday on Thursday, the smaller, high-flying type names that we've been talking about, you know, whether it's quantum computing, or some of the nuclear names even, taking a little bit of a backseat over the past couple of weeks, rightfully so, with NVIDIA last week and now more AI talk this week. How are you approaching this in a lower volume kind of environment here ahead of the holiday?
Yeah, I think it's all about timing, right? I think if you noticed, if you did take swings the last 2 days, it really gave you a nice return with small share size. If you went big, you probably got stopped out. This is what we've been talking about often. But I think the important thing right now is to take smaller size and look for those bigger volatility ranges to play in. If you look at the ATR, I'm kind of using that. I'm using like 2 times the ATR to really think about what the potential risk could be in the name so that I can size down accordingly. And so that's how I'm approaching those low volume names. I think you can still go dipping your toes in them. Now, of course, which ones are going to come all the way back? Which ones are going to maybe just get a little bit of a bounce here? That's why I'm saying today's a big day, right? We've had a 2-day relief rally. Will we get a 3-day and get more of that kind of advancing shoulders look, right? And that's what I'm going to be watching on the charts today.
All right, let's go into a couple of individual names here. Start with CEG. Big day yesterday. I mean, the entire market kind of looks like this after what happened yesterday, but let's go nuclear here.
Yeah, and I think the interesting part was the news that just came in just a couple of days ago, right, on Thursday last week, and that really kind of helped out this area start to look a little bit better for me. And I was thinking that maybe, you know, nuclear wasn't the forefront or the focus of the U.S., but they made more comments there that I thought were very important. And that actually now gives the ability to see nuclear trade come back, like an SMR that was down over 60%. And full disclosure, I have a swing on an SMR already, got 1929 on that, but looking to see CEG as kind of more as the indicator here. As long as it can hold above 345, kind of that bullish engulfing look from yesterday's candle, right? You have Friday's high, 345.28. As long as it can hold that level today, you're still in the bullish camp, and these stocks could start to see a bigger rise. Now, the only question is, will the U.S. try to go on a leap and maybe make an investment in one of these small nuclear names, or maybe in one of the energy infrastructure names? These are the ones that I'm really starting to focus on because I could see this coming. And if that happens, these names are going to go from hated right back into the love space.
All right, we just saw retail sales specifically, a little bit of a dip on the monthly number here, maybe some question marks surrounding retail specifically. You had VSCO. A lot of people going to be shopping, looking for deals on Black Friday. You had VSCO. What's your thought here with this one?
Well, it's actually done really well since they changed the CEO, and it's continued to climb higher, and you're just seeing a steady uptrend. And I'm looking for stocks like this, right, that are still in steady uptrends even though we're getting through this uncertainty time. So if we get any type of backing that Black Friday sales did great, this could easily see the pop. It's already held the trend. So I really like this VSCO. I could tell the last couple of days it's been trying to build up a good amount of volume just 2 days ago where it popped to 36.50s. Yesterday it was right at 38s. So as long as it can hold 36 on pullbacks today, it looks really good on a descending triangle look, trying to get back to 39 and 40s. That could be a nice approach.
Rest of the
Black Friday.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, on Black Friday, there's a bunch of trades here, and I want to run through it because I think this is an important one where most traders just don't even think about it, right? They're thinking turkey. They're not thinking Black Friday. And Black Friday, of course, comes with sales numbers, and that's what I'm going to be watching for when we get these release of sales numbers. Do we get a nice little pop? Today, you got Best Buy earnings, A&F earnings that came in, and you see these stocks start to take the lift, and this is just going to help out what? The industry, right? So they came in, they got a nice little pop. Look at AEO, the recent action that's going on there. You see a quick move up. What is this? This is your Black Friday rally. So AEO would be one that I would say is a little bit too far gone, might be harder to chase. But yeah, definitely AEO is one of those names that I'd be watching to continue to lift different ones here. You got Urban, you got Gap, you can start taking a look at, right? Gap is right on that 25, has been up here multiple times, guys. This is a trade that I do yearly, and I really try to just look for quick pullbacks before this, and now you can start to see the rise. Even Best Buy today, right? You're seeing it get hit, right? But this has a nice little pattern. If it recovers 77 today, it could start to get going. So I like this Black Friday trade, and there's more out there, guys. There's more to trade, and it's always interesting because now we got mentions of a Genesis mission. What's going on with the executive action out there?
A lot of people maybe going on a mission for Black Friday deals. Walmart, obviously the big one. I mean, you mentioned Best Buy. I think a lot of people, might hit Walmart for a new TV before Best Buy, but that might depend on the size of the lines. We started with the GPU versus the TPU debate here. A lot of other people maybe being brought, or other companies being brought into this argument. I mean, if anyone's just joining or missed it this morning, Meta up, Google up, potential tie-up between the two, leaving Nvidia out in the cold a little.
Oh, the fight begins from the big boys, right? And one of the things that Google had been doing in the past, they invented these TPUs in 2018. But what did they do? They held them underneath their kind of company, and they kind of built them up and had them ready to go. Now that they've adjusted them for AI, now you're starting to see that competition come in. And this is where NVIDIA's lunch starts to get stolen, right? Where everyone wants to go and steal NVIDIA's lunch. So this is why I've mentioned, and I've mentioned it in the past, that NVIDIA can stay up here, but now it has to compete, and it's just not the same bar that it had 2 or 3 years ago. So another one that I've looked at today that did get a spike, I didn't see any news, so maybe if you guys see anything, you guys can mention it, but Intel, very interesting action this morning. And another thing to keep in mind is that Intel does make VPUs, which is a little bit different, right? It's not TPU, but it's also a competition in the AI hardware space. So this is where I'll start to focus on. Who are going to be the winners coming up and trying to steal that lunch from NVIDIA? So maybe we start to hear more and more mentions also of Intel's VPUs. And another thing to keep in mind on Google that I think is a one stock that hasn't moved off of this report is TSM. And don't forget that they fabricate those TPUs for Google. So I think that's one name that hasn't really lifted off. You've seen Broadcom lift, you've seen Google. I'm going to be watching right out the gates to see if TSM starts to make a quick move.
It's interesting. I mean, Darren made the point early on this morning, and a good one, I think, in the simple fact that just this idea of Meta, going outside of NVIDIA for the first time opens the door for other potential opportunities, other potential companies to step into this space. So you see Intel and Broadcom, as you mentioned, and Google.
CEOs right now just licking their chops. They're like, ooh, now we have something to come after NVIDIA for. So I think you'll see more and more focus of that, and look to see more and more everyone trying to compete and relate themselves to NVIDIA, right? They're not going to even compare themselves to Google. You won't see Intel, Google. It's just now the battle is all against NVIDIA. So look for others to get that lift.
Great stuff. Mitch, is there a Black Friday holiday we need to know about over at Trade the Pool?
Like always, guys, we are going to be giving a little bit of a special. We're not the company that loves to give, tons of discounts because that really just takes away from the value that we give. But we will be giving a little bit of a special. So stay tuned, guys, out there for a little bit of some gift action there. And look towards the Christmas time, right? There's going to be a lot of specials coming up that we'll be doing for you guys. So, hey, it's our way of giving back. And you know what I'm thankful for is trade the pool and more mass buying power. Give me more buying power, as that's what I'm thankful for this year.
Mitch, from everyone here, obviously have a very fantastic Thanksgiving. We'll see you after the holiday next week.
Hey, cheers, my friends. You guys enjoy it.
We always enjoy that day off, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there, including Mitch. But I'm glad he mentioned that Intel, because Intel was flat out not on my list because it was gapping. I'm like, oh, well, I'm not going to pay attention to this one if it's up for reasons unknown. Well, now it's looking like I would have kind of expecting a little bit better. Holding underneath those Thursday levels, holding underneath that 36. So I think you've got an obvious resistance spot here. Look, AMD already broke $200 this morning. Like, we got to 199, sorry, check that, 198 high. So that's already 6.5 with 7% to the downside. Looking for something that hasn't really followed through because the Nasdaq's were right at 25,000. So Nasdaq's right underneath 25,000. So I want things that are in the realm of it could go quick pop and fade. Quick pop and fade here, and Intel does fit the bill, despite the fact that it was gapped up originally, now starting to fade off a little bit here. I believe we already got options, so that we ticked that box, but there's some upgrades and downgrades that we need to check off with Joe.
All right, guys, welcome back. Yes, let's take a look at some of these analyst actions here. To start it off, we got Applied Materials by UBS Group, raising that price target to $285. You're up 2%. It's also going from a neutral to a buy as well, too, guys. And then we have Cummins by UBS as well, too, going from a sell to a neutral. No specific price target on that one. And then Bloom Energy, Mitch was just talking about this not too long ago. You're slightly negative, less than 1% here, but you're getting that price target raised from $26 to $39 by Bank of America. And then we have Tempest AI also getting the nod as well, too, guys. $96 to that price target, currently $105 by BTIG Research. And then as for the downgrades, we have Royal Bank of Canada by Jefferies Financial going from a buy to a hold. That's relatively flat on the morning. And then also Teladoc Health as well, too, guys, getting that price target lowered from $9 to $8 by Bank of America. You're up just a little bit under 0.5%, 4/10 to be exact. And speaking of Exact Sciences by TD Cowen going from a buy to a hold, guys. And then Novo Nordisk also getting the downgrade as well, too. BMO Capital Markets, you're positive in the morning. Price target lowered to $46, guys.
Yeah, just for anyone, Exact Sciences being bought for, I believe, 105 cash. They
just had their report, too.
Yeah, EXA. I'm pretty sure I have the price.
Oh, EXAS? No, that's a different one that I was thinking about.
Uh-oh.
I was thinking about
ECPS,
something like that. Oh, there it is. EXAS.
Nope.
While Neil struggles with the symbol here, AMD is getting pumped. We're going to go over our watch list in just a couple of minutes, but Nvidia, Tesla, AMD, and SoFi on mine right here. You can go over to @TraderTV, Sean, to go and find out, which name you like or some sort of trade ideas here for yourself. Over 55,000 of you right now all over that. And get it to go, man. There's the AMD calls. Just seems way, way too easy. Some of the things that you guys are looking to trade today. AMD, JP Morgan, Broadcom. Serge the Cat says, yo, let's go over to the Nasdaq here. So yeah, go put your opinion on what you guys copy, what you guys want to trade here on X with me. But yeah, AMD, that's not happening. So yeah, I wrote down AMD 210, but again, this is the problem with coming in a little bit early. We start at 8 o'clock now. So, you know, here at 7:45, 7:30, I was thinking if AMD just bumped up a couple bucks, we'd short it. That's where the 200 period moving average was. Now all of a sudden the 200 period moving average down to 208. So I have 208 written down as well on that note. So we're gonna wait to see if we get a little bit of a bump up. I'm just wondering if it's overdone. I don't think it is, and I think the market goes lower. So I just wanted to say, like, when we're looking at AMD and we're going to get through this right now, make sure you do check the watch list. The link is in description. Go grab that. It's absolutely FREE right now, but the Nasdaq is in FREE FALL. We are in free fall right now as we break through VWAP and now hit the lows of the pre-market. So yeah, free falling right now. In some of these names, as Nvidia's broke 175. And hey man, Google is the one that's upside right now. Is the market going to be upside down? We're going to find out, and we're going to start analyzing right now back at the desk.
Meta too, guys. We'll get to it in a sec here, but Meta just an absolute rocket right now. If you haven't done so, grab that free, as Sean was mentioning. Link is below. Top link in the description will get you to the sign-up page for the watch list. As we said, free every single day. Comes right to your inbox, has everything you need to know with all the stocks that are moving around in the pre-market. This is a 15-minute chart currently of Meta. Just took out the highs once again. We're all the way back to 624, almost 625 inbound here. If you missed it again, potentially talks between Meta and Google for TPU uses versus Nvidia, which could bring Google obviously billions.
Yeah, and these first two stories here, Google and NVIDIA, are going to have a lot of overlap because they're kind of two sides of the same coin. But basically, the information reporting that Meta is, as Brendan mentioned, in talks for $1 billion here with Google's AI chips. This, again, Google also has already been really strong, so this certainly doesn't hurt their rally. But here's, like, I think the bigger thing this might mean for the market landscape, and maybe that's more about NVIDIA, is just the fact that NVIDIA has been viewed for so long as impossible to challenge. U.S. President Donald Trump even said something to this effect at that U.S. Saudi investment forum last week, where he said, oh, you know, Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA, who's challenging your Blackwell chips? Well, here's the thing. They might actually have a challenge now in Google, and I think with the fact they're actually talking to Meta, too, or Meta's in talks for these deals, this is not just theoretical. This is something that's actually in motion, and I think really good look for Google, but understandably, but scary for a lot of these traditional chip names.
Yeah, NVIDIA not looking too healthy to start things off here, guys, but I mean, this Meta is just a monster right now. Google, too.
Google and Meta, we talked a little bit of Google, and we'll talk a little bit more in a second, but Meta particularly, this seems like a more distinct trend break. So, you know, the notion of breaking 580, maybe heading a little bit lower for now, I think it's changed. If you're going to spin this as the positive, would be more competition increase. It gives you a chance of lower costs, and you know, diversifying can also have that effect as well. So breakout potential here in Meta. I think it's already happened. This doesn't feel like a chase to me because it's already filled in. See this gap 615? It's pretty much filled in the gap. Because you go all the way back to the 12th, and that's like 627. It's like a $12 gap, of which it's already done 9. So this does not at all feel like a chase. And the other side of the coin is, well, who directly benefits here? It's Alphabet. And Alphabet's actually sliding lower. This is, to me, if Alphabet starts filling in this gap, that's why I was looking over like, well, if AMD's already so far down, do I look at it? Intel is going to come into play for me for potential short. Because this is it's a blue sky setup for Alphabet. They've already doubled up. This is, I mean, Berkshire has bought them. They've got the moat. Like everything has fallen in the line. And then you get this headline here, which you think is going to be a big boost, and I think there's going to be some profit taking. You're already seeing it start to break the shelf. Do I think we get all the way back to yesterday's highs? That seems a little bit unlikely. So in the absence of that, there's like 25, and then there's filling in the entirety of the gap, because VWAP is no longer a thing. We were holding VWAP when we sat down here this morning, and that seemed like, okay, we'll hold the VWAP, maybe play some longs in the next $5 range. That's the complete opposite. So I'm looking specifically now, going to try and see if there might be a pop in AMD maybe. We'll get to that in a second. But I think this one might be starting to fill in that gap. And I'll just be patient. Mean reversion or waiting until like a little bit later on in the morning. I'm not sure you want that first candle to the downside. But if we do fill the entirety of the gap, I'm definitely a buyer at yesterday's highs. I'm just trying to find a spot in between here without any levels yet to try to catch a bit of a dip in Google. And so Meta, I'm not chasing that move. It just feels like it's already made the move.
I'm not even sure why people want to even take Meta up at these levels. They've already committed to this whole data center build out and, you know, all of this open AI and all these Nvidia chips. And I feel like their bet is already made. I mean, it's great to be in a lower cost alternative here with Google, potentially with these TPU units as opposed to GPUs. But I don't know enough about any of this stuff. I just don't think that Meta deserves this kind of a bump up on that news. I still think they're in trouble. I mean, like, you know, tomorrow what we're going to hear that, oh, Oracle now, you know, Oracle's building out the data centers, right? But like, this is a name that keeps on falling every day. It seems like here with Oracle, hitting the skids here. But I would short Meta on this. I don't understand why it's up this much. It's only 2%. It's barely a drop for Meta, but I don't know. I can't wrap my head around why this should continue to go higher here. I get it, and if they're going to scrap everything they've done and move over to Google, that's fine. But there is some sort of cost associated with it. Plus, there's still the software build out that is attached with these Nvidia chips and whatnot, building on top of and including. Look, I don't write down Google on the sticky note today because really, you know, like there's no levels up here. It's a pretty nice gap long right there. So we always look, well, when there's a gap, we say play it back to VWAP. Well, that's already what happened, and we broke it down. And now you're starting to go lower. So I think 327 is not out of the question. That's the 200 period moving average. I don't even think, like, the Nasdaq could get washed here today. Google won't be away from that move. They will get hit as well. So I think everything comes a little bit in there today. Look, it's a great story for Google, but does it really deserve 8% plus 4%, 12% plus another 4% today? So, you know, as this approaches 4 trillion, every single move up is adding just such a significant portion to their market cap. I just think it's overdone. Like, we were at 290 on Thursday, you know, maybe even a little bit lower. And then you get all the way back up here. So you're up 16% there, oopsies, in just a matter of days. So I think it's a lot. Obviously, I think the Gemini 3 story is obviously the bigger one, in my opinion. And the fact that their LLM is getting love right now, and that's great. And if they're getting love, look, everyone was like, oh my God, ChatGPT has 800 million daily users, okay? Gemini last month had 450 million users. Just last week, they reported 650 million users. So they're going to pass ChatGPT at some point, and they're already monetizing better. I mean, so many people, even our business here, is linked up with Gemini and Google Pro. Because, you know, using the Gmail suite, you know, attach.
Because everybody's already in the ecosystem.
Exactly. So this is why Google with Apple is such a huge win for Apple as well, and Google, because the ecosystem's so huge.
We're inherently lazy as people.
So this is what I'm saying. Like, people aren't going to keep using, they're not going to go Perplexity, Claude, a Gemini, a Chat, I'm forgetting many others, Anthropic, Llama, WhatsApp chat, whatever everybody's using. They're eventually going to find one. And when there's one ring to rule them all, I think Gemini right now is starting to show its strength. So I'd watch out for Google here, man. It's definitely a sleeping giant that has been awakened in the last 6 to 8 months. So congratulations again. That's all I can say. Like, Google supporters have been here forever, and it's going to keep on going higher, man.
You could have taken the Lord of the Rings one step further and said it was a sleeping dragon.
Oh, okay. That's over my head.
Fair enough. That's The Hobbit, unfortunately.
Okay, so there you go. So.
Not as good a movie.
No.
But
I only watched the good ones. So
Nvidia is still the king for now. And we got to talk about that.
Yeah, let's go to the other end of the scale here. Nvidia downside. If you zoom out to daily time frame here, we're right back to the bottom end of the range. Some key levels coming back into play here. Set to gap downside after a nice recovery yesterday. But Google gains, others gain. Nvidia, not so much today.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like, as Neil said, this is not necessarily be-all, end-all for NVIDIA. This is still a massive chip company. So perspective is, of course, as of note, just right now, as we often see with these Mag 7s, a different one is trying to catch up and to gain actually, quite frankly, a lot of headway, and that one, of course, right now would be GOOGL. Now, with regards to some of these other chip names, I was seeing some people in the chat wondering why AMD was down, but Broadcom is actually trading higher. We know AMD, much like NVIDIA, has actually benefited from a lot of these types of deals. Of course, we have the massive OpenAI tie-up. With Broadcom, from what I was reading this morning, the reason this is actually going higher is because this is viewed much like Google as another alternative play for if we start seeing this kind of pivot away from NVIDIA, right? So that's maybe why Broadcom could be a good look today. Broadcom also, of course, benefiting from a massive rally yesterday. So long story short, some of these AI and chip plays are switching up, at least temporarily. And I think whether or not this is a longer-term trend, that's going to have to wait to be seen.
The other mention, which is key here, Gemini 3 bouncing immediately to the top of, I mean, there's so many of these ranking boards now when it comes to these LLMs. I just picked one here, but all of the top 3, anyways, as far as ranking boards go, showing it this way with Google now back on top, Claude 4.5 second, then ChatGPT 5.1 all the way down in third. So this shifts back and forth quite frequently. Basically, anytime a new model comes out, it goes up to number 1 or number 2. So Gemini back on top against the rest as far as the LLMs go too, guys.
Yeah, for sure. And just one thing to remember too, like Broadcom does help make those tensor chips, design and make the tensor chips for Google. So that's another reason why it might move a little lockstep today. Like Google loses a bid, Broadcom probably loses the bid as well. So it seems as if for now NVIDIA is bouncing a little bit better than AMD. And for myself, I always look at when we have a move like this, if I'm bearish, I look at where was the prior support, and it does line up pretty decently. There's a decent chance that NVIDIA actually has a chance to get back and either retest yesterday's lows, pre-market highs, whichever way you want to call it, as opposed to AMD, which I still feel like the logic here being that they were supposed to take the market share, and if it's not them, then it just, that was a lot of the growth story for AMD was supposed to be that they were coming at NVIDIA, and if they're not the ones grabbing that market share, at least not right now, then that's going to be seen as overtly negative. And if you look at what's happened on the chart for AMD, that break of this panic, whatever you want to call this, like upward trend, you'll lose the 50 period. Everything seems like headed back to this prior high, which is at 185. So it did break 200. The chances of getting it to $210 seems pretty unlikely. So you just look right back at Friday's close, which is about this 204 area. So 204 and 05 gives you a little bit higher than VWAP, but that would be the level that I'd look for the fade. And then I also added, because both of those require a big pop, I want to have in the back burner Intel off of yesterday's highs. So those are the names I'm looking short. Probably not NVIDIA. I think it's going to be AMD and Intel in lieu of those. But just be careful with, I know Broadcom's way up there, but Google loses the bid, Broadcom's losing the bid too, because they're very much tied at the hip on this particular story.
Yeah, no, I have both of these written down here, both NVIDIA for a short and AMD for a short. Just a matter of which ones wind up setting up. So which one, says Drake. Yeah, I was going to say like AMD here. Initially we were, as I said before, initially the 210 was the 200 period moving average. Now we're at 208. So we have both those levels written down. I am waiting for a pop up here to think that maybe this move is overdone down there to the downside. I don't think it is. I'm just waiting to see if there's a pop. So watching out for VWAP right now. Whenever there's the gap, we play the fade back to VWAP. So gap, VWAP, it rhymes. It's so cute. But I think 204 should be a play there. We'll watch it early. I don't want to get involved. Like what Neil was saying, I don't want to get involved right off the jump. Like making good trades on more share size when you're specific, that's fine for me. And if I lose on it, I lose on it. That's fine, but I want to wait a minute. Like this 175 is such a key level as well there for NVIDIA. Oh man, we got that split action happening. But yeah, just it's really held this area pretty good. We've had some wick downs through here, but this story is changing now. The narrative has changed. Every time before it was always bought up because there's no alternative sort of, there is no alternative, go up, go up, go up. But right now, man, NVIDIA looks like it now wants to come back in. And I mean, I think we could threaten that 200 period. And yeah, underneath the 50, it's just a matter of days. This probably starts sloping down, which you don't really want to see right there. But yeah, well off of its highs. The earnings are now past it. Has NVIDIA seen its best days? Yeah, I think it has for now. I don't, you know, until we get either a story about robotics or something like that, you know, right now you know, the gun is sort of pointed right at NVIDIA. So I'm going to be shorting both of these names, just a matter of where and when. And I do prefer AMD. They're the ones that are going to get lost in all of this at some point, right? I mean, I was lucky enough to sell some at 256, and honestly, like, that's just turned out to be a decent decision, and I didn't think it would be this good this fast. But, you know, how many tops do you need to see up here? Too bad I believed in NVIDIA so much more and didn't sell any of that. But, you know, getting out of AMD seems to have been the right move back into the downside, and I don't look to buy anymore. So I'm going to be short AMD at some point. I think that'll be probably my first look today, will be a short of AMD, especially if we get into that 203, 204 area. All right, man, a name that maybe we bought with some of those AMD earnings is Alibaba. Right, so let's go back over and figure out what Alibaba's story was today. It's earnings day.
Yeah, coming back in a little bit, but decent start here for Alibaba. As we said, decent report right across the board. A couple of notes, though, and if you zoom in right at the bottom of this, you'll see one of them. The spend was a bit of a question mark, basically saying the AI race is still very much in focus, and they're going to go as far as even saying they have no problem spending more if they have to.
Yeah, I mean, and that kind of aligns with previous comments made by CEO Eddie Wu, and also just the culture here for AI spend in general. I do want to talk about the report. As it's kind of been mentioned, this is generally a good report. The one issue here was adjusted EBITDA down 78% year over year, though they did attribute that to, would you guess it, spend. Quick commerce investments did lead to that decline. Revenue beat, as you can see here, 34.8 billion USD, above estimates of 34.43 billion USD. We had a 16% year over year increase in e-commerce revenue. Quick commerce revenue up 60% year over year. So a nice look here for BABA, and EPS beat as well. This infographic will be posted on X at TTV Research later today, so stay tuned.
Yeah, a lot of ADR action in result of this. We also had NIO. I mean, not really doing a heck of a lot here, chopping around essentially where we ended the day yesterday, guys, though. But NIO kind of a meh kind of quarter.
Yeah, I mean, I know NIO's had a meh quarter, but if it breaks 6, I'm still going to be there. It's just one of those kind of stocks. If it breaks an even dollar level, like the $6 level, I'll put on the note that I don't think it's super likely off the open, so we can talk about Alibaba. Excuse me, first. If not for the fact that that cloud number was 34% growth. 5% overall revenue growth is not going to necessarily impress everybody when you're talking about the framework that the market's in right now. Everyone's sort of looking at, want that double digits, maybe even bigger. But that 34% is going to be the number that carries the water. Now, unfortunately, it is looking like, look at all the rejections of VWAP and filling in the gap. So the prior day high is very much in play at 161.5. Until it gets down there, nothing seems to want to be holding VWAP early, which means patience off the open. And that's what I'm going to exude. And then, as I mentioned on NIO, I mean, 6 is an obvious psychological level. It's also trending down. Maybe it doesn't hit today, but I think it's trend reversed. Like there's your, I mean, it bounced at like 520, good technical level there, and you have a nice reversal of trend. Just needed to follow through and take out that 6. If that's not happening, I probably don't trade NIO and give Baba some room to fall a little bit lower. It's 161.5 to 162 is going to be that prior day high area that I think you got to wait for. Like nothing seems to want to hold up these gains. I haven't seen a single stock that was gapped up that hasn't been pulling back.
Like yesterday, we had Alibaba written down as 160 long, you know, yesterday. So I don't see why that wouldn't be the case again here today. So I just find it's tough to trade these names on earnings days because we don't really know where it's going to go. So you got to just let it settle down. Like this 160, we had it written down yesterday. We'll see if it can work itself out again here today. 161.30. That was yesterday's top there for Alibaba. It beat on the top and the bottom line, and they make their own chips. So that seems like that's the theme today when we get Nvidia going one way, Google going the other, Broadcom going upside, Alibaba going upside. These guys are going to win huge when more of this independence dependence steps away from Nvidia, and Alibaba starts to enter the building as well. So we're just going to have to, sit on this trade. I really like Alibaba down here. I bought, like I said, man, I basically rotated out of AMD and into Alibaba, and it's been a good trade to do that so far. We waited for our 150. We didn't get that, although we should have been. We just weren't sitting there when it came back into those levels, and we had to pay 160 flat for this. So, it's in the long-term account right here at 160, and that was an average up. So I like the stock. I bought it on a little bit of weakness, and it's nice to see the top and bottom line beat there for Alibaba. Let's keep the momentum going here to the upside.
Let's go to Zoom. ZM coming back in a little bit right now as well, but a decent report right across the board here. AI, and more AI talk for ZM as well.
Yeah, I think what really stood out here for me was the guidance for Zoom. So they raised their fiscal 2026 sales and EPS guide. They already raised them last quarter too. So now these are well above estimates. They're guiding fiscal 26 sales now between 4.852 billion to 4.857 billion. Their fiscal 26 adjusted EPS guide now 595 to 597, well above estimates of 588. They did beat here on revenue and EPS, 1.23 billion revenue versus 1.21 bill expected, and adjusted EPS 1.52 versus $1.44 expected. Year-over-year growth across all of its metrics. There's not too much bad to say here about ZM. And again, this infographic will be posted later today on XTTV Research.
Context key, as always. If you zoom out a little bit here for Zoom, this is a weekly chart. Drop in the bucket here, guys, even with this bounce back today here.
Yeah, that's a good, drop in the bucket is probably the good way to put it. It was already rallying to earnings the last couple of days on a rebound for Zoom. So this 5% does a little bit of a job, but it doesn't take it to where it needs to be for a break. You're pretty much diddling the exact middle of the range that's been here since the last earnings, which was 78 to 88. So if we're not breaking out above $88 on Zoom, it doesn't get very exciting. But this is exactly the kind that you put on that alert list or put on your watch for the next couple of sessions after those earnings, because if we do break away from here, and you could venture to say maybe wait for like a 90 break, I think the day that it gets involved with 88, you probably want to play it a little bit, because that's a long time we've been holding down here. You're going all the way back to this, well, I mean, not this time, but August of 2022. That's a long time we've been holding the same resistance on Zoom. So it is a level that when it breaks, it's going to be a trade. Just not completely convinced it can get there today, but you got to set an alert for that 88, 89 area, because I think if it can get through that, I mean, it could zoom to the upside. There you go.
Yeah, I didn't really, I like Zoom. I like the level that it's at there. It's at a nice level on the 200 period moving average. Another name here, would love it. I've been messaging you, but you're a busy guy, this Randy guy here today. Randy was vacuuming around here this morning.
A lot of vacuuming.
So get rid of some of that dust and whatnot. So I want to thank him for doing that, of course. Yeah, look, if SoFi, just to talk about something a little different here, if SoFi can get back in, I've written it down on the note here for 26, basically yesterday's sort of get up spot there. We did have I wrote this down for 25 yesterday, we just missed it. We may just miss this 26 here again today if it dips back in. So what about 2640, 2650, something like that? But the problem is, you're now starting to point lower. Like this momentum could bring SoFi back in here. So I want to be able to sit there. I'm waiting at 2620 right now to see if we can get a little bit of an active move off the open for SoFi. But I don't want to be I'm pretty negative about the futures here today as we've really turned red now on the Nasdaq. We're okay on the ES, and part of that is strength in oil, maybe strength in some of the financials, healthcare names. But I think that SoFi, if we can drop into that 26 and change area, that's a spot that I'm a fan of. If and when that comes through. Here's the imbalance locator. Nothing really kicking today, right? BBAI, we said big move yesterday for them. I'm not really playing Big Bear AI anymore. Nvidia, there's SoFi with a sell, so that's hitting this imbalance there on the Nasdaq. And I just saw Nvidia there with a buy. So Nvidia's a buy, Google's a buy right here, but Google's a buy with only 100,000 shares. That's, very, very small for anything that they're doing. They're already at 4 million shares. So look at Google, man. We said maybe you play it back into the 200 period moving average, while Google right now down $5, pretty much in a straight line from 333 down to 328 right now and looking to break lower. So yeah, man, I am feeling pretty short now in this market, especially if Google's heading to the downside. A name that we didn't talk about, we still talk about Spotify. We did a little bit of that earlier, but also Microsoft, you know, we could see them getting hit a little bit here, and they're at a very key level. We talked about when Amazon was at the 200 period moving average. I don't know if we thought Microsoft would get here, but this is not a horrible spot for them. Again, as pressure comes from OpenAI and sort of their reliance maybe over there. But there goes Microsoft turning green right now. I don't know what's going on there, but nice move now for Softy going back up to the upside. So yeah, lots of stuff happening here as we get ready to open. Let's go talk about Spotify quickly, and then we'll open this market up.
Yeah, less than 2 minutes to go here. Let's get to Spotify. This is a weekly chart. If you zoom way, way out, this thing's still an absolute monster coming into key levels here, 600-ish. Trying to hold, once again, if you missed it again, another price hike coming through, first since last year. A few people were mentioning the simple fact that it's been since 2024, but hey, that's just a year ago. JP Morgan, interesting note here, estimating that even $1 a month uptick on pricing could equate to 500 million in revenue for this company, so not nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense from a business standpoint. Obviously, consumers might not be super happy because Spotify already costs apparently $1 more than the Apple equivalent, but it is worth noting, apparently both companies are facing pressure from these major record labels to up their prices, so I would say expect to see more from any competitor of Spotify's.
This all happening as well as Daniel Ek, CEO, gets ready to transition to a chairman-type role with, as Adair was mentioning early on, two, not one, but two, co-CEOs to take over Spotify, but positive anyways here to start, guys.
Yeah, positive to start, but I'm not feeling very bullish on it. I think if it got to 620, that's the obvious level in here. That could be a potential fade, but it's a $600 stock with a $4 spread right now. No mas for me, not going to be touching it. Take a quick look at the amounts to see if they've changed. Not much of anything has changed. BBAI still going to be on top for 450 sell. Reminder that SNDK, effective the 28th, they're the new addition to the S&P 500. Pretty much nobody had that one on their bingo card, but it is happening. That's actually dropping going into this opening bell, which is brought to you by AIML Health. Shout out to them. Scan the QR code in front of you as we'll open it up in 2 and 1. Let's go.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, thanks for the opening bell there. And here we go, man. 202, 203 for AMD. So up jumps the boogie right now for AMD. Little risky, like we just touched 202.50. Now you're back down to 201.50. So a quick little move back and forth there for AMD.
Wow, S&D.
Of course, we're still going to watch out for Nvidia. That move is coming a little bit lower as well right now. Google, the other name on everybody's mind. Wow, nice little tank right there. We say, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Thanks. For Google, as that pulling back in just a little bit right there. So I'm going to assume Meta also pulling back in. As I said, Meta was the biggest fugaze here today. We could be wrong on that one, but here comes Meta. Thanks, Randy.
The biggest fugaze
for all that.
SNDK.
Was it? Okay.
Initial candle, $13 to the downside.
Oh, boy.
So they're going into the S&P 500 on effective Friday, I believe I said 28th. And immediately dumping. AMD it did tag VWAP, no 204, but already headed back in. Yeah, if this goes up to VWAP, got to take some kind of a shot at this bad boy for sure. SanDisk, not really on the plan of action, but Oscar is. If Oscar breaks 17, still looking long.
All right, man. Trade alert. We're long Tesla right here. At what price? The price we marked down. 412 right there. Let's see if it can hold fort right now. Tesla trying to battle back. Let's get out a little bit more right now if we can at 413.70s or so. There it is, another piece out. So there it goes, man. The Sticky Note Nation, proud to be presented today with Tesla. Let's see if that can go back up there to the upside. There it goes. Let's go, man. There it is. Daily goal right there met already for Tesla. So if you're trading, see ya, you're done right now. That's $2 plus right there for Tesla as we continue to go, baby. And the funny part is that AMD is tanking, and that hits VWAP almost as expected. And now that move is coming back down in. Man, hopefully this market can rally a little bit because this Tesla could be really something special here, Neil, today. There it goes, man. Now $2 plus on Tesla shares right now. So far, so good. And bye-bye, AMD. And again, we could talk all about everything when we talked about the short. I don't have it on, so is what it is for right now, but we do have $3 or so here on Tesla. So let's take a little bit more out here, just watching this stock continue to climb higher. Tesla
going great one over there, but Google is now at $319 and continuing to fall as it is cratering. I said I would pivot if there was no shot at AMD into potentially Intel off of yesterday's highs. It's trying very badly to get there and looking like it might fail. If we close this candle underneath 35.75, which was support in the afternoon, then I might look for a short even lower than our intention. And then I mentioned Oscar. Don't sleep on them. All the healthcare names. Why does it always go to Blue Ocean first? All the healthcare names gapped up yesterday. Oscar is holding on to VWAP as well. No real breakout yet in Oscar, but I have an order set. That's not, you obviously can't buy higher than the price. If we break out yesterday's high, that's just my limit order for a breakout there on OSCR. One of the names that we didn't get too much of a chance to get to. And Apple leading what potentially might be the way. There we go, 2 set upside, but the market's headed down. We're underneath 25,000. Bitcoin also catching a little bit of a stray with this market to the downside, unfortunately. I want to wait for Bitcoin 15-minute. If it holds underneath, my plan was to look over at MAR again for a potential short. So there you are holding underneath the volume weighted average price, but no real action yet in Bitcoin. Very much inside movement so far.
Yeah, we don't want to be long for too long here, man. So Tesla just came right back in, and honestly, like, this market right now is like uber sick. I mean, we can obviously have a quick little look at what it's doing, and I don't think it's necessarily, I should watch what I'm saying. It's not necessarily the market. It's just, you know, some of the big players in the market today. AMD down 8%, like, and getting crushed. Okay, man. I mean, look. Joe always says, hey, Katina, man, look at these reloads. Hey, Joe, man, look at this reload right there. We just got 4 11.50s. Now we're $2 in the money on double the shares pretty much right now. So we'll say what's up to Max and ride this Lambo again here. Only position for me today is this Tesla long, exactly as we wrote it down at 412. So far, so good. I'm just taking out a few pieces here as we continue to climb higher. I really want to try to make this something today, especially if this market can somehow get its grips on the AMD and the Nvidia trade right there. 198 downside there for advanced micro devices. Maybe we should have stayed there. Go Tesla. Go. All right, so there it is. Now Nvidia did lose that 175, but a nice little battle back right now for them. And can Google get going as well off that 319, right back into yesterday's close? Unbelievable, as Google basically goes zeros on the day, and now nicely cooking back there to the upside. So things are bouncing here and not really bouncing too well for my guy over here. So I'm gonna take out one more piece. Hopefully I get it. There it is. We get it in the 80s.
It is bouncing nicely.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lot of stocks bouncing now, but not this one here, the big trade of the day here for Tesla. So hopefully Alibaba is still going upside. As you guys know, that was a recent purchase. No, it's not. So there goes Baba back into 161 and change. So a lot of stock getting hit there today.
Baba does this on earnings, though.
Exactly, and that's why I was like, I want to stay away from some of these earnings plays, but there goes Alibaba. Looks like it wants to give it all back right now, breaking back down below 160 right here, Alibaba.
Yeah, breaking. I mean, ultimately, we've seen Baba do this story. Google's making a big-time bounce, but the second I saw that tick of weakness again in Bitcoin, it's now sitting at 87, well underneath the 88. You're still trending down on, like, Mars down 3%. What's IBIT down? Here, I'll show you guys IBIT first. So there's IBIT, rejects the volume weighted average price, basically almost the same thing, but more weakness breaking lower on Mars. So if we break out this top, I jump out of Mars, but this is the one I want to fade. We're picking them and still have not gotten into Intel, as I kind of canceled my VWAP orders because it's not getting down there. It's just entirely too much weakness right now in this name. As even with, I was about to say even with Nvidia bouncing, yeah, Nvidia's right back at the low. So much for that. Even with Nvidia at one point bouncing back to 174, there was no pop-up there in Intel to get you in. So for me, just Mara, still trying to get into the south side of Intel. Not much going on yet, I think, with Oscar, but I still think it's a day 2 play for some of the healthcare names that can be good. And I see a lot of people talking about Open Door, and thank you for putting in the dollar sign so I can get up there. Open does not break that 8 level from yesterday. Oh, maybe it did. Maybe 801. It looks like 801. So barely breaking yesterday's highs as the move continues for Open. Didn't have this on my list. If anything, I know I was thinking fade yesterday. Probably a good thing that I didn't try it. But I'll stay away from that one because I was thinking fade at those prices. So just Mara, that's starting to break down through the lows. Want to get 1075 if we can on this. Is Bitcoin headed to the downside. This is the one I preferred short. It never broke the trend here yesterday. So if it can hold under VWAP, I think this can be an all-day short as long as Bitcoin's underneath 88, and we just broke 87.
All right. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm sitting here in Tesla, and we were able to get basically the 50-period moving average of 415. So, clear some out at VWAP, clear some out at the 200, at the 50-period as we continue to climb higher here on Tesla. But whoops, there it comes right back in again. So we're going to have to watch out for this name and see if the market wants to continue its trend lower so far. Hopefully it doesn't and we can bounce back up. I would like to see a 25,000 test or so. And look at Meta, man. Again, whenever there's a gap, you can play that back to VWAP. I mean, it would have hurt you early there, but maybe late, bouncing off a little bit here for Meta. Like I said, I'm just having a hard time understanding why it's that great for Meta, but I do understand, if they can get a little cheaper product, then why not do that? And it looks like Google may be the one providing said product to them. And there goes Google, still up that 2%. So you got to celebrate that. Let's check out the other big stocks of the day here. Amazon, red right now. We'll see. I mean, heading into Black Friday in just a couple days. I don't think it's we used to be like all over that for Amazon, but I'm not really seeing anything there. I don't see too much.
I haven't seen any
going on. I mean, they have so many they have Black Friday stuff all the time, and that's the whole point, right? Like there goes Netflix right now back down to the downside. So this could be something where you eventually pick that up. 105 right here on the 5-minute chart. And of course, the 200-period moving average right there at 105. So we'll have to watch out as our charts need to adjust. But yeah, I'm just sitting in this Tesla, man. I mean, it was one of the stocks that I had written down that I really liked down there at that level. If it breaks 410, we're gone. We've taken profit on it, so it's all good. Nvidia, the short I wrote down was 180. Obviously, that's not come through. But when we were talking about it during the market open, we looked at 175. So we should have been short there, 100%. Silly to not do that and to maybe chase Tesla. And then also that AMD 202 will probably haunt me for a minute, but we could get back up there. Like it's only 940 right now. I don't want to say that this market's going to lay an egg here, but it looks like as far as the chip names are concerned, that's pretty much what's happening. So cautious entries and exits right now on all of these names. Not sure which direction the market's going to do. So I'm going to take a little bit more of an out here if I can get it at 414. For Tesla being long at just under 412. It's still $2 in the money, but it looks like it may be giving it up here. Look at the market starting to fade pretty good. So watch out now, man. Anything tied to the market, probably heading lower. Glad to see Oscar over 17.
Oscar did break that 17, and it looks like it's trying to, UNH is also going as well. So some of the healthcare names are looking a little bit strong. There is a breakout. This is an obvious prior high to play back into. There was a dump at 1 o'clock yesterday on this name. So that top is going to give me an area where we can get out. If we get all the way to VWAP, I don't mind trying to buy a dip in VWAP just because these are going oppo to the market. And we did say healthcare with the potential to show some strength today if we get a bad day in tech. There's UNH, which is absolutely, it's just running away. 2.5% to the upside and continues to go. I'd like Oscar to follow, obviously, but is what it is. IBIT is breaking the lows. I wanted to add Mara, but I'm not chasing through the low of the day here just yet. So I might just have to take Bitcoin itself at the volume weighted average price if we don't get the add in Mara. So market's looking weak, Bitcoin's looking weak. Looks like healthcare is about the only thing outside of Google, which is bouncing. Alphabet back to 326 and looking a little bit stronger. But I want something else in this crypto space if I can grab something. And BMNR could be, I'll probably stick with Mara for now, but BMNR is going to be on the back. You have to pay for locates on BMNR. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I do like Oscar. I know it's heading to the south side, but I do like that stock. So, it's a one that I bought recently. Let's go Oscar, and let's go Neil on that position, of course. And then, Tesla. So we didn't get that 414. So now we got to sort of wait to see what exactly this market wants to do. Let's go.
Bye-bye.
Apple. How much are we loving Apple these days, guys? What a huge move up. I was talking about it in the pre-market, and I said, you know what, one of the biggest winners here should be Apple. And yeah, because I was talking about how Gemini, hopefully getting into Siri there, and just with the more users on Gemini, we said that like a lot of users will stick with one large language, and if Apple can get that figured out, yeah, I mean, there it goes. So should have probably taken a little flyer on that long, but hey, man, sometimes the theories that you have don't pan out. Pan out? Pan W has been getting hit on their most recent earnings call there as well. This stock's actually getting crushed right now. A favorite of many people on this desk. And I like Pan W and would like to buy a little bit more. They didn't make an acquisition, and that's never well received. But in the cybersecurity space, you can't go too wrong. Pan, Zscaler, CrowdStrike. Fortinet got hit obviously on their report as well, but there it is, right to the downside. Palo Alto not really getting too much relief at all right now for Pan W. It's, if anything, man, just continues to go lower. CRWD. So by the way,
I prefer Crowd right now, but
yeah, and so does. First of all, that's that. But I just want to show you, like, here comes Tesla, man. If we break 410, too key of a level for me to hang around on. So we'll try it right down here. This market is really bleeding. It's funny because what we have written down, short, Tesla long, AMD short. Now we can look at SoFi for the next long opportunity, but here comes Tesla right back in. So we'd sniffed out that there was some problems here, but looks like we'll turn our profits into flat-ish areas. And like I said, man, we were up 2 days if we had just covered it all right there. But looking for a couple bigger moves here. Tesla making the move back in there. It's going to get hit. This market is getting crushed right now. Yeah, so I see that you got stopped out of Oscar, and here comes Tesla flushing as well. So.
Yeah, I'm out of Oscar. Obviously, Mara is going to end up working, at least for now. Even Google just rolled over. This is still holding VWAP, so I don't mind trying to get back in. But the clean breakaway to fill in the gap, and I'll show you a 15-minute a little bit later. I don't think that's going to happen just yet. Because UNH is strong, I'm just going to quickly show you guys. Because UNH is still strong, I'm going to favor jumping back into this as a long trade because the market's weak, and as far as I'm concerned, the space is still pretty good. Didn't really get too much more. I wanted Mara at VWAP. Obviously, it just didn't get to VWAP. So we did have to add on a break of the prior bar low, which is kind of shorting the bottom in there, but that's all we could get. Looking for $10.50 here on Mara. Bitcoin's at 86.6. So that's continuing to fall. The Q's kind of taking it on the chin at this open in here. So, with not having Intel short, I just have to be patient to see if there's going to be something else here in Oscar. That just lost VWAP. If it can't even hold on to VWAP, there might not be a second chance here for Oscar. So everything seems to be falling. Google back under VWAP. Nvidia down 6% and at 171. AMD as well, down 197. AMD could go SSR today. AMD could get to 10% down. If AMD hits 10% down, there's going to be a bounce somewhere. That'll be like 177 change, let's just say. But for now, market is another one of those flushes. We got 1% to the downside. When have we ever hit 1 in the last few weeks without getting 2? I can't think of many instances where we've only gone halfway and not all the way. So my target's here, 1050. I'll short back into VWAP if we happen to get it. But yeah, it looks like we're getting that move to the downside. And maybe we catch a bit of a bounce in Oscar, but I'm going to be pretty patient with that the way this market's falling. Yeah, no, I'm going to give this to 409. We did get a little stopped out there on Tesla, but here it comes right back in again, breaking through that 410. We were able to get a little bit out there at 411 on that first sort of break right there. But yeah, we're just trying to deal with it now at 410, a break of 409. And like I said, we're not going to sit in a name that we know can get extremely volatile. Just trying to play it for the bounce back up here. And again, liked Tesla, liked sort of the energy that it had yesterday. But today, yeah, definitely giving some up here is TSLA. And it looks like every time we bump up, we just kind of get hit back down in now as the market just continues to bleed. The Nasdaq now down. There it goes. The Nasdaq, there it goes. See, I don't even think it broke there, and yet I'm getting stopped out. I don't know. See, that's a shitty stop out again there for me on Tesla. So I don't know what's going on there. Down to 409. We'll try that one more time because I don't.
It looks like it did break, but that sucks because right now we would be monstrous if we still had it, but we do not. So not messing around too much anymore with this Tesla trade, but it is breaking higher now, so that's good. And we did get it back in. I don't know, I guess we just got stopped out there at 409, bought a little bit more back in there. So we'll have to watch out for Tesla as it's trying to get its footing underneath it again right now, but there it goes. Upside for Tesla now.
Damn it. Red.
Sorry, what did?
Alibaba just went red.
Oh, okay, yeah, well.
I was looking over to Baba and NEO to see if one of these earnings names would do something for me. But no, Alibaba's turned red. NEO was already red, so forget about them. Kohl's just got to VWAP. I'm sort of looking where is some relative strength in here because Oscar doesn't seem to want to hold VWAP. But Kohl's is above the volume weighted average price and holding on at 20 bucks. 30% upside. We already talked about the 37% short float. 37% short float and 30%. It's just one of those days. You have to look maybe a little bit different for some strength. So I'm looking at two names right now. Oscar not holding on to VWAP. Kohl's possibly doing so on this second salvo. Still trying to short the pops in Mara and Intel, but there haven't been pops to even short into. So just have to look for something a little bit different. Ama Hamada, make sure if you're talking about Zim, hit that $sign. Right? Type in the $sign. We will try to get to as many names as possible, but obviously right now being the opening rush, going to look to try to take some positions on in here. Now we're getting some strength in Oscar.
Wow, this market is just Deadsville there as Tesla breaks.
There's not much strong.
Put Tesla on the ban list. Yeah. Yesterday we put Nvidia on the ban list, which was good. We could do that for Tesla again. But look at the market right now bleeding, man. We just should have played with the short area that we had thought about in the first place. And it looks like now we continue to get hit, man. I mean, the market's giving it all back. We were flattish. Now you're down 1-2 right now as there goes AMD. We could almost just keep on following this. Yes, Tesla's doing Stresla things. Yeah, true, Christopher Ocean. But, I do think that we could catch the bottom here. And, the Tesla, with the move that we had yesterday in Tesla, there's definitely some opportunities to try to get it, but we got to wait again. Like, it was a good trade early. Like, we did make some money on it, but gave it all back, of course, here. As doesn't look like we're holding that 408. Just waiting to see if there's any, news on anything here that we could, maybe try to follow. But yeah, right now, downside in this market. And hopefully we get something that gives us some reason to go either long or short right now, because the momentum just keeps on getting lower and to the downside, the momentum growing to the short.
Look at Intel, man.
What is Intel doing? Failed move.
Down 3%. Like, look at these candles. Like, why was it even up in the first place?
Exactly.
I don't even know. Someone explain, why was Intel gapped higher this morning?
Trend is
Seriously.
your friend.
The trend is your friend to the, even Adara just said, I don't know. I don't know, Adara doesn't know, nobody knows. It just doesn't even make any sense. The market just continues to fall. I mean, Oscar's trying, it's trying, but it's not doing anything off this volume weighted average price. They keep coming back over to Kohl's, which is showing a bit of a bounce. All right, now Kohl's is holding VWAP, so it just broke the prior bar. A bit of a trend break going into the volume weighted average price. This at least seems like it's going to be relatively strong. So if I can get this long off VWAP, that's going to make sense. TPS reports, because Google will use Intel foundries for the TPUs. We know that for a fact?
No, they won't.
Yeah, I didn't know. I don't know that to be. I haven't seen any indication of that. I think that would be great news for Intel if it was true. Getting major clients for their foundry business would be gigantic for them if it was true. And I'm not saying one way or the other. I think that would be tremendous news. I would venture to say if it was true, Intel wouldn't be falling like a rock right now, because that would be a major breakthrough for them.
Yeah, so, all right. Maybe we found a bottom potentially now at around that 407 area. We'll take a small, I tried to buy some 408s there, but we missed it on that. Now we're starting to go back up to the upside as some of this market seems to want to go now. So we'll have to wait. Maybe Nvidia's seen a potential bottom there, just bounced off of 170. I mean, that's a possibility here to come through one more time. 407, what is the bottom on Tesla today? 407.50 or so over there as we're trying to battle back. 407, yeah, basically a 407 break. So if we can break through there, I'm going to try it again if it comes back in. So that's where I wanted to look at this, just to make sure that we do have a trade on if it does come back. But there goes Tesla. Yeah, so Nvidia, too bad, because we tried it and lost out on that. Yeah, nice little dip down there for Nvidia also. Got into 170 and now trying to get back to the high side goes Nvidia. So more to come over there, it looks like, as that bottom could have been wiped out right there. And AMD as well, you know, nicely up $2 in just the last 2 minutes. So there is some movement happening right now in these markets. And of course, Apple bouncing off VWAP, should have been taking that trade there. SoFi, 20. Well, I wrote down 26. We didn't quite get, I'm at 26.20. It gets a 26.60 right there. And SoFi now trying to bounce as well. So it looks like Tesla will go without us, which sucks because we were all over this long and we just lost it right there at 408.50. So we're only back to 409, 410 right now. Let's see if this can come back just a little bit. And then there it goes through 410. Good trade there if you're able to hold it. I did not. JP Morgan and some of the banks continue to be weak. Looking to see if we can rebound on that one. 301.50 down to 297 right now goes JP Morgan. Damn you, Tesla, man. Great move back. And we just, Christopher Ocean, man, told me to leave it on the back burner, and I was going to do it anyways. But there it goes, right back to where we first started buying it. Maybe it's a short now for Tesla. But yeah, it's Nvidia day today, Tesla day, Google, Meta. All these Mag 7s just continue to go absolutely nuts.
Even with a $2 bounce, Nvidia is still down 5.7%. So a bit of it, like we talked about the bounce that's just happening. Bitcoin gets back to 86.5, which will be on IBIT pretty much exactly 49. Nowhere near VWAP, still a bit of a downward trend. If we don't break back into VWAP on this, then I don't necessarily expect Mara to break, but I just got reloaded on that. So reloaded into VWAP there. What I have to pay attention to is, see that it's a lot more strength in that last bounce in Mara than it was in IBIT. So got to respect that. You know, this is nowhere near the volume weighted average price. It looks like a little bit of weakness in Bitcoin relative to the name that I'm going to be short in, but going to stick with it at least for now. And then go back over to, on this bounce, if Intel comes into VWAP and curls, I might take a shot there. As we go to the desk, it's time for Adara. That's a big hold at 24.6.
Just be aware here, guys. AIML going to be on watch. AIML Innovations. The ticker here is AIML. And they announced that their subsidiary Neural Cloud has actually started a pilot project with SickKids Hospital right here in Toronto. This is going to be interesting because SickKids is actually one of the top pediatric hospitals in the world. And so even getting this pilot in the door is a big look here for AIML. Again, AIML Innovations. Back to Neil and Sean. And remember, we do have some data at 10 a.m. Back to you.
Right, I'm going to short AMD on this pop up right now. That's like Tesla's damn, man, like just out of that too early there on Tesla. That's really too bad. But you know, you switch up your game plan and you get a little face slap the other way. So there it is, man. And let's see if we can get some outs now on AMD. I mean, I was going to use this one basically to 200 and just tell me that we're wrong when we break higher. And then that's that. So that's where VWAP is. That's where the 200 period is. So I do want to average into this trade. I do have some higher looks here. We just take a little piece off there. Wow, Tesla's 413, man. A big, honestly, a big props up and congratulations to anybody that held that level, because that was an absolute banger there if you did that. So again, a big congrats. Look what Tesla's doing. 413 and change. Wow, huge. We would be right now pretty big there, but we got out of it. So yeah, there's some liquidity coming into the game here for sure in these names, as there goes the Nasdaq. Now we were down 1.3 or so, almost made back half of that move right here, right now. So get ready to rock and roll. I'm going to average into this short up to 200. I mean, it could be, again, completely wrong, but this is what I'm trying to do with AMD right now. I'm still a little bit peed off about that Tesla, but we're back in. Now we're just going to move on to the next trade. And here we go, shorting AMD off of that 198. Let's see if we can get back into this 196.50 or so area. And look at that, man. We just shorted 98s. There it is, man. We'll take it back in. So making a little bit, there it is, man. Making a little bit of cash back is why I never doubt, man. You know, we miss out on the Tesla, but it looks like we got AMD right there. There it is, finally. So hopefully this doesn't backfire as we get nicely moving to the south side for advanced micro devices.
Yeah, so far so good. I mean, I'm just going to go back to the reload. Got to do it, but I have to show you where the futures bounced, everybody. It shouldn't be this obvious, but it was. It was at 24.6 level on the Nasdaq. And that was supply multiple times the last couple of sessions, and now you're going to get a big time bounce off 24.6. So anything you liked long before, got to go back to that well, in my opinion. That's going to be Oscar for me, which is already headed back higher. Sticking with this, at least until we break away from the volume weighted average price. It worked the first time. If it does in the second, then so be it. But Oscar Health is going to retake that 17. Bit of a V-shape. I want to buy dips instead. Early breakout didn't work. But if it's going to dip and give us another chance to run that high, we'll take our shot there. UNH strong. I see in the chat Jameson mentioning that Meta is continuing to go. Yeah, okay. Meta seems to be leading the way. But I think the bigger story was that bounce off 24.6. If it was strong before, it's probably strong now. So Meta's going to go. Alphabet's going to go. When you fill in this gap, there were no levels on Google. So as far as I was concerned, I was waiting for something else to set up. And what that else might be is this trend breaking. So I need a setup to happen. Like, it just ended up falling into 320, but whatever. I wasn't looking at 320 for any specific reason. It was nowhere near VWAP. Now it's got a bit of a trend. There's your trend down from the highs. Now you've got a wedge as well forming. Might take some time for it to break up, but if it breaks higher, then I have at least a long that I can structure here on Google. So it's up 2%. Obviously, everyone knows the story by now. Google choosing Meta. Sorry, Meta choosing Google, I should say, and both stocks getting a bump. Obviously, it's more of a direct benefit to Alphabet, but tell that to the market right now.
Yeah, the market kind of feeling some kind of
They do what they
right
want
now.
to. I mean,
yeah, no, like I was saying yesterday or earlier today, it's kind of like Google and Meta. I was a little bit strange.
It was surprising
on that move there, why it was like so great for Google, but apparently it was. So for Meta, sorry. So yeah, there it goes. Anyways, all right, we're into AMD short now, so now we got to wait to see if this wants to go, man. We're looking at that 2 bill level. It just came right back up to VWAP. It's a good thing we took that out, man, when we were celebrating that dollar club. I mean, it's how like back-to-back celebrations go against us here. So we have to wait to see if this can come back in now to that downside. We just did get a little bit of a move down there once we shorted it, but we didn't capture that back into 198. So here we go, man. We're finally short at a decent level now. So we've got it. We have consumer confidence coming out. That could absolutely blow this trade rate up. So a little nervous about that number coming out right now. So let's try to cover just a little bit of this trade here as we move down, go over to Adara. 30 seconds to go until number.
Not just consumer confidence, guys. We have a series of numbers going to be released, including the Richmond Fed Manufacturing Index, which characteristically came out a little bit early. This one coming out here at negative 15, so it's going to be a little bit lower than expected. CV consumer confidence, as Sean mentioned, forecast 93.3, so we're expecting it to be lower than the previous print of 94.6. Pending home sales change month over month, 0.2% is the estimate. Business inventories month over month, we're expecting 0%. We got this consumer confidence number. This is well below estimates, guys. I'm seeing consumer confidence 88.7, below estimates of 93.4. Pending home sales higher than expected, 1.9%. So some mixed data here, and the market maybe not liking this consumer confidence print, pushing a little bit more. Yeah, we're going to start here with Alphabet, because GOOGL moving alongside Meta and Nvidia, all in different directions. Broadcom is actually moving on this too. Basically, the information reporting that GOOGL and Meta are potentially going to be in this deal for Google's AI chips. Nvidia did not like that story. This losing a significant amount of market cap so far this morning. Tons of earnings names on watch. Here is Zoom ZM, as we mentioned this morning. Really strong report across the board and raising their guidance for the fiscal year. Also, other earnings names on watch, including Alibaba. We've got NEO. We have Dick's Sporting Goods, Best Buy. So tons of earnings names to look at. We're going to take a moment to thank our friends at Origenics before we send you to Neil and Sean. Each year, 3.8 million concussions are reported in the U.S., and there's still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE-listed Origenics, OGEN, is changing that with its first-in-class intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access. With the concussion treatment market projected to reach $8.9 billion by 2027, Origenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more. Schedule a meeting today. Back to Sean and Neil.
Thanks, Adara, for that one. And we got another one on right now. Hopefully it can continue to do that. Here we go, man. We'll props it up for AMD. I mean, we finally got into the short. We liked it, and we just covered some at 197.30. That's literally where it is right now. You know, that number not really affecting too much here. I mean, the Nasdaq's bouncing back down, but the Nasdaq rode back up to VWAP there. So, you know, no surprise for me that this is happening right there. I chose AMD. Maybe should have chose the futures right there because it's pulling back pretty nicely, but as is Advanced Micro, so hopefully that'll get down. I'm bidding 197, hoping to get a fill down there right now, and if we can get that, then good on us, but 197 looking like it wants to hold. There, give me, I'm at 15s. Did I get it? Yes, no. No, we did not. We're at 197.14. There it is. Yes, sir. So we will ring the register on that one. Now $2 back in. It's too bad we fumbled up that Tesla trade, or else today would be monstrous, but here we go, man. Another $2 winner back in. Let's take some advantages of that and get a little bit more out here on Advanced Micro Devices as it bleeds to the low side right now, bringing my whole day back right now with Advanced Micro Devices. So bye-bye to that one. And, you know, I hope you guys were looking at it, and there it goes. Just as usual, we lose on Tesla and then make right back here on Advanced Micro Devices. But it's 10 o'clock, still some movements to happen. And Nvidia's also hitting the skids right now. That would have been the better short, I guess. Well, that would have been $3. We've got $2 on AMD, so I'm not going to cry over spilled milk over here right now. But yeah, 196.60 right here for Advanced Micro Devices.
No script.
All right. Neil's not ready yet, preparing something.
No, I'll just come right back over to. Let's go right back into the trades. I mean, Mara, back to the pre-market lows, curl over underneath VWAP, heading lower. The other thing that happened, a little bit of a surprise there, was Intel. Intel got all the way. Interesting. I guess I got partial. Okay. It didn't get fully filled there on Intel, it seems, but if it holds under VWAP, we'll try to add underneath the volume weighted average price as we're back into flush pity. So, I mean, ultimately, the shorts, we absolutely trust at this particular point. So, again, headed lower. Not really sure where there's going to be some strength. I was waiting for Oscar to set me up for the long. Oops, that's no longer VWAP. That did not take out the prior high, so I'll need to see it hold on to VWAP here. Forget about the breakouts. Got to look for dip buys if you're waiting patiently for any kind of strength. But yeah, you know, Mara's going to head down back into the lows. Bitcoin is going to continue to go lower. I did have my eyes on IBIT and made the judgment call that, hey, Mara at the even dollar looked better than IBIT. Short. So that's what I grabbed. And we're close to that low of the day, as is BTC. So the shorts lead the way into the green. I mean, it's weird. Oscar was actually a losing trade, and it's relatively strong. But so far, so good. Intel, thank you for being up for no reason. And Mara continuing with that Bitcoin weakness, everybody. And the other thing you got to pay attention to, I think you might have mentioned this, Nvidia just lost 170.
Yep.
We're now down 7%. And I say we because I'm not in position on it, but we all own this thing. So, you know, we're all down 7% right now. And there's not much till you get to 165 on this daily. I know there's a lot of bad wicks in here, but it's about 165 where the next support is going to line up.
Like I said, selling some AMD up there at 250 seems to have been the right decision for now anyways, as we look at what's going on right now. But there it is, Neil. Yeah. It is now $3 now in the money on Advanced Micro Devices. So I hope you guys believed in that trade, and it is now quite humming back into said downside. And I don't know, like we could even get a lot lower than this. So, you know, I don't think this move is by any stretch of imagination done here. So let's just keep on waiting. 195 and change right now for Advanced Micro. I mean, this is a daily chart, so we're just trying to fill in this gap right now. But I am trying to cover because, again, we did lose a little bit there on Tesla. So we want to make sure that, you know, when we do have winning trades, we do start covering them a little bit. So there's more outs there at 195 as we bump up pretty aggressively right here again. There's 195. You know, I was waiting to see if we could retest some of those lows. So let's put one more bid down there at 195, like 25, just because this is a nice move back in right now. So we'll see if we can take that move in, get another bid at 195, and then wait for that low. And other than that, let's just stop trading AMD now and see if it wants to flow a little bit lower, because patience, of course, will pay. I've only traded two names. The L, which was so good early, was Tesla, and then we danced with it a little bit too much there in and around 410. But as the market just pulled back in, we could have got longer again there, but I did put this on my list. So I'm going to wait a minute for Tesla to see what's going on, because you know what? There it is again, man. We just whoop, there it is. Thought you knew. Nice move down there for AMD. Again, 195.25 is where we're bidding. So if we can get that, we'll be well on our way to turning this day around, as the Nasdaq right here, just trying to get its footing a little bit. We might have found it. You know, the ES only down a quarter here. I'm not sure if Nasdaq and if these names even want to go too much lower than potentially where we are right now. So we're going to have to be patient with AMD and the rest of them as we wait to see the next move. Where's the next shoe and where is it dropping right now, I think is what we're all waiting for.
Well, it might be dropping with Google bouncing and breaking.
Okay.
Because look, it ended up not really breaking that trend line. I got to redraw it for you guys. It didn't really break the trend. It tried to, but the wedge is still there. And I'll save this so I don't have to do it again. We might close breaking trend line on Alphabet. That's all I was waiting for. Like, it has to close breaking this trend line. I am trying one reload here. I don't think a third time, or I guess technically it'll be a fourth time on Mara, but on Intel I am at VWAP. But look at Google, bucking what seems like this push down to try to make this breakout higher. Nvidia is back above 170, so it's starting to look good again as well. And don't forget, I mean, we're going to get to some of the smaller caps. And I see BBAI in there or Alpha. Just want to make sure I want Google if it's going to head back anywhere near that 330. So once it closes above that trend line, that's going to be my in for Alphabet, of course. It has been sells all morning long. Like for me, like 2 winning trades on shorts, but the loser has actually been a long. But that was over in Oscar. And Google's built differently the last couple of days. Like when Google's caught a bid or Alphabet's caught a bid, it's been pretty strong. Like yesterday, for a tepid day, it gave longs twice of like $8. To get to 330 or even the low 330s wouldn't seem like that much of a big deal for Alphabet. Looking pretty strong in here as it heads to the upside. I'm going to take another leg off of Mara. That's a big, I just saw a big spike as well in Bitcoin. So I'm going to take another leg off of Mara before it gets to the volume weighted average price again.
Yeah, market's trying to go back upside right there. We did have a nice little rebound for sure. That's Tesla, sorry, and Nvidia. So let's have a quick little look to see what Nvidia is doing. So there's the rebound off 170 again. So, you know, if we're going to be patient with things, we should wait for sure until VWAP before we really do anything right here. So I think that's something that I'm willing to sort of lay my head on, is waiting until we break through 173, maybe before we get long on NVDA. We did have to suffer through a little bit of a pull back upside. Let's take another piece right there. And then we'll still wait for that. I mean, I'm going to put it back in because I just took some more out. 125.20s, 125.25 there. We'll put a bid in and see if we can get that as we're starting to fade just a little bit lower right now. So yeah, let's go. Nice movement here happening for us. Let's have a quick look at some of the other things that are popping. I mean, the market is not just mega cap names, right? So let's have a quick look there at what else we're looking at for today. So there's Nvidia, man. Wow, the emperor right now down 6% as Google saying, give me those close, man. We're up 3% right now. Apple as well saying, wait a minute, I've always been the king. That's up 1.15% here as we go. Broadcom finally getting faded. AMD getting kicked right there, down 8%. My guy over here, Tesla, the red name for me today, is downside there today, down a little bit. And look what's happening right now with Eli Lilly and the healthcare names, man. Merck is upside. Eli Lilly, once again, brand new all-time highs for Eli Lilly, back up near that $1,100 marker. The forgotten child here, Pfizer, we'll have to watch out to see if that wants to do anything moving forward. PFE again.
Something burning.
No, someone just reheated some waffles, I think, is the case there. Amazon Energy. So here's energy on renewed Ukraine positivity, which is real nice. So
possible peace deal.
Yeah, exactly. And you can see some of the energy names getting hit on said peace deal. It's funny how that, of course, happens as, you know, energy back in the look right now. So we'll have to wait to see if anything's going on with energy. And then retail, man, we had KSS today. We can have a quick little look at KSS, see what they're doing. But Amazon, everything right now. Home Depot, most things. There's Target now as well, 1.5%. So good day today to be in the retail. Let's go, AMD. Good day today to be in KSS and some of those retail names. All right, man, AMD's falling down a lot. I'm just going to take my bid right here. We just missed it. There's KSS up 34%. As I said, good day, man. I'm going to take AMD right here if I can get it at 195.50. We just had a pretty dramatic move down. I'm at 46s. Oh man, just got missed again. I'm gonna pull it. Oh yeah, we pull it and then it goes, of course. There we go, put it back in, get that filled. There it goes, man. The big bad banger right there, $3 and change in the money right now for advanced micro devices. So we're all good, baby. I see you're into Google, so let's go Google.
Yeah, Google just broke trend. Prior bar is gonna have to hold 325. Still hasn't closed the second bar above, but now it's going to. So if this closes green, ideally add around the 25 level. If not, I'll probably add somewhere in the top end of the range, 26 to 27, looking for it to push back into 330. Again, stop is always going to be prior bar and a trend break. While that was happening, well, if the market came up a little bit, it probably meant and did mean Intel retested yesterday afternoon's support, so we're short again here at 35.5. Just looking for this to continue to push back into some of those lows. I did take some of Mara off, but we're still in that one. I have not reloaded Mara. What would be, I mean, it's kind of, this was like the first trade, so I call that like 1, 2, 3. This would be a fourth time on the low highs here for Mara. But I did see a bit of a spike in Bitcoin. It's not huge, but it is a higher low. So Bitcoin showing some signs of a breakout. That's why I did not take more Mara shares there. So instead, just Google, reload on Intel, or I should always say Alphabet, Alphabet and a reload on Intel. Looks like Google might break this 327. Once this candle closes green, I'd rather be adding at 326. Stop is still that prior bar at 325. Google, it's supposed to be the bell of the ball today. Let's see if it actually holds true. Is the Nasdaq still weak? 0.8 to the downside. It's trying to go, but I mean, it's not going to only go because Meta and Apple are strong. No. That's the real. You need more participation. And Meta's all the way back to 625. Like, what's Apple doing right now? Apple's above VWAP. So Google's going to have to participate here. I haven't really looked at Microsoft, so don't at me. Microsoft matters. I get it. We just don't really look at that stock very often. I want one of these others to start going. Google ideally gives me the 330, so I'm now bidding to try to add at 326 because it's really confirmed the trend break here. Kind of jumped in before that confirmation. Stop still stays underneath 325 here for Alphabet. Marcos Morales wants 650 on Meta, at least.
Yeah, everybody does.
Hey, I think everybody wants 650. I always want stocks to go up, not down. I think it's broken the trend. Right? And why wouldn't it at least retest? Forget 650. Why wouldn't it retest up here at the 200 period?
Oh, boy.
670.
Yeah, no, I would love for all these stocks to go up, but not when you're short like we are right now. The plane crash has now happened for AMD. We are now $4 right now in the money on advanced micro devices. So there we go, man. Absolutely cracking goes AMD. We'll take that 195 fill, and then we'll see. I think we got even sub that. We got 194.88. So there it goes, just cracking in to that downside. Bye. AMD, that is for sure. We have less than 10%. Well, we have about 10% left on this. I was trying to figure out how to hold things a little bit longer, but on a day like today, no point in doing that, man. We tried it on Tesla and no workout too much there. We should have held it just a little bit longer. SoFi still doing its own thing right now as well, so we'll have to watch out for that. We looked at SanDisk. I think SanDisk is, I said this earlier, man, this is a house of cards. It's too bad. I said, hey, look, that's great that you're being added. I hope we can get back up here to short it. Down 7% right there. We didn't give any love at all for SNDK. And the other one that I want to keep shorting is Micron as well, as they've been having such a nice move to the high end. And I think that they deserve a little bit of a move back lower is Micron right now. So we're going to have to, be very, very careful with what they're doing. And there goes Eli Lilly, just up to that 1100 again. We were up there earlier, and now we stop and just kind of barcoding. It looks like we just broke through that 190 again. So with a spread, of $1 and change, difficult to trade on my end right there because I share size too much and I wouldn't be able to stop myself. So there goes Eli Lilly. Plus, I don't really look at it. Like, if anything, 1086, baby, and then watch out for a stop down there below
They could use a
1084. So yeah, I could close this spread and get aggressive with it. I'm definitely capable of doing that. DraftKings, $30 could be a level there. As DraftKings up 3% in this kind of a bleeding day. So that's nice to see for DKNG, looking like it wants to hold out for this area as they sort of parse through the poly market and Kalshi threat I guess, is the right way of putting that for them. Tesla may be knocking on a door here, man, around 408. Like, let's wait to see if this can get going. Yeah, thank you so much, Westermeyer there. I'm spot here. I don't know if I can use this thing there, but he's talking about, if you're going to say kind words about me, I'm going to put you on, of course. No, but spot on, selling too early, never go broke, taking profit. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of what we're trying to do here is just try to find our spots. And like, you know, if right now, if I think that this 94, 95 area is going to be some kind of support, then yeah, like right here, I'm going to take another piece out. And even if I look back and this thing gets to 193, which it easily could get to, will I be upset for selling here? Yeah, maybe, because we left some money on the table, but we make decisions in the moment. And like, even now I'm seeing that bump up a little bit. So I'm trying to get out some more here at 195.50 because I don't want to miss that opportunity. And again, when you have shares on, you got to take advantage of price movement, no matter how many shares you have on. So we're going to take out a little bit more on AMD because it looks like, I see the Google's rocking. It looks like right now the market could be on its way back to the high side. So again, a big congratulations for the shorts right now, but it looks like the longs may start to print very soon.
Now, there's still crazy, like, just whipsaw action back and forth. What I'm noticing, what I don't like, Google went a buck in the money, but it's also rejecting 328, which I'll get to in a second. But Intel cannot break VWAP. Like, it went from getting here and then just looking pretty easy on the short side most times and getting some of these tops to now holding the volume weighted average price. So this will be a little bit of a concern. I'm going to try to trim some out at said volume weighted average price because of that strength. Well, Google just stepped it up. It no longer, that prior bar was at 325. It's no longer testing that. It's actually testing 326. So I moved the bid up $1 and tighten the stop. I'm going to try to add higher than I was before and just move the stop into 326 as that one's headed to the upside. Market's trying to go as well. Ooh, Bitcoin bouncing a little bit here. Yeah, this could be a bit of a turn. That said, the Nasdaq is still kind of bearish, man. Like the Nasdaq, outside of bouncing off that key 24.6 level, like I don't want to get away from the shorts that, to me, are setting up. You're still downtrend. Yeah, you got a bottoming tail candle, but you're under VWAP, you're under overnight support. I want to give the shorts a chance to still win the day, but Google was one of the stocks I liked alongside, so it's fine. It broke that trend line. We'll see if we can get to 330 on that bad boy. And thank you guys for all the symbols you're putting in there. It's like, oh, you're missing this, you're missing that. Have a look at this. And we can't catch them all. So I've been asked about silver, ALB from Jameson in here. Again, you can't, like we said, you're not always going to be able to see every single move out there or trade every name. I'm kind of glad I'm not trading silver because I feel like if I was trading silver today, I probably would have taken an L trying to make that into a long at some point. You know, it just didn't. I didn't want to chase any moves to the long side, and I'm glad I didn't chase this one. But it's back at VWAP, so you know, good bounce here for silver. But my bias after yesterday was actually to go long in silver. Thankfully, it didn't look good on the charts, or I'd have taken the L almost certainly. With that, I'm assuming gold is also down, but it's because they usually are about the same. But silver is the one I watch.
Yep, same. Yeah, not too much love there for. I like gold, but we don't really trade GLD on the show. Gold. We did see yesterday a deal with Barrick. I don't know why B is not working on here. It's Barrick Gold.
It is. They screwed it up on our system.
Yeah, okay.
It says Barnes, but it is Barrick.
You think they'd be able to figure that out? But Barrick yesterday with a nice deal there, upside. So if you're trading gold names, there goes Barrick Gold. So that would be a nice little, dividend play if you want to get into the miners. Barrick Gold right there through $35 up to 40. So another good look there for Barrick. And like I said, we're not going to be stubborn on this. This just broke through 196. We took another piece out. So just letting this settle itself down right here as AMD gets back up there to the upside. Oh, now it's coming right back in again. So I was actually looking, we're going to go to Adara. Before we go on though, these TQs, if we can get anywhere near the 200, I'm shorting that. I'm shorting the futures if we bounce just a little bit more, so watch out for that. And then I do think that building a Tesla position again down around this 408 isn't the end of the world, so I'm going to try that and then see how low we actually do want to go on this move. So here comes Tesla coming back in again. We'll take a small little try here at 408 and see if we want to hold it, but that's all. It's just going to be a little bit of a dip buy opportunity there for Tesla if we do come back in. But okay, there we go. We're going to get that figured out right now. What's up, Dog, there in the chat? Yep, that's why we're looking over here at Tesla and at the futures as we start to get excited a little bit here. But we have Adara at the desk. It's 10:20. Let's get an update from Miss A.
Hello, all. It's small cap recap time. 2 of these are earnings plays, and 1 of these is a penny stock. So very all over the place. Let's get into it. We're going to start with Kohl's KSS. As Neil mentioned, hefty short float on KSS. I was seeing around 27%, but again, sources are going to vary. They did actually post a profit, which we weren't expecting, and a sales beat, though there was a decline in comparable sales on a year-over-year basis. Then we have Rubico, RUBI. This is the aforementioned penny stock in this mix. I could not find any info what the stock's float, market cap, or short float, but I can tell you the news because they do have some. They're extending their tanker charters, and apparently this will lead to roughly $120.8 million in revenue backlog. Great look here for RUBI. Last but not least, another earnings name here, AMTM. Much like Kohl's, this isn't strictly a small cap play, but a nice push higher on a relatively inexpensive ticker. This one right now trading around 31.50 after this double beat. Before we send you back to the guys, I just found something crazy. I'm digging into exchanges and stumbled across BTCC, top 30 globally. But here's the wild part. BTCC has never been hacked. While major exchanges keep getting wrecked, BTCC stays untouched. Zero KYC if you're in US, Canada, or Europe. Through Trader TV, you get 100 USDT coupons for registering, plus 15% bonus thing that covers losses up to 15K USDT. Seriously, what am I missing here? Scan the QR code for more info. Back to you.
It sounded like maybe you're missing a lot there, but that was a good one there, Adara. Thank you so much for that. But as Adara was reading, the market said, yeah, about that right there. So nice move downside there, and we take advantage of that move with AMD as that's coming back in. So we'll take a 60 fill right there on advanced micro devices, but the bleed is on right now for Tesla shares. And, you know, there's 406. We are going to give this not too much love past our little 406 number there, but hopefully we can come back up and get a little bit of this out okay, there it is, on a break higher. So we'll put some more money back into the old portfolio in the bank account here, hopefully, with this move back on Tesla. But who knows, man? We are not doing well right now as this market just faded off and Tesla got hit again. Like we tried to leave this one in the penalty box. We're putting back the L. We're putting another L back on here, but I mean, we just got out there, which was a good trade. But if this doesn't hold, we just have to get out. I mean, just zooming back in here, this is 402. Like, I don't really see too many levels to come into play again. We could always use 405, 406 as an area, but do we really want to give it back here when we can clearly see that the market and at least Tesla wants to go lower? So, yeah, we're kind of licking our wounds here a little bit because we did go back into this name. So let's just be careful. If it does pop higher, then let's get some more out. But right now, it doesn't look like that's a possibility. As there it goes, $4 in the money on AMD, but right now 50 cents out on Tesla. So battle of 2 names here for me. Short on AMD and a long on Tesla. I don't know who's going to win, but my bet would be on the short for now.
Right, I'm betting on the shorts too. I'm out of the long into the shorts. I corrected in the chat here. Daryl was doing the read. The opening range top, as you guys can obviously see on that trend line, is 329, not 330. Whatever, I just said the even dollar. That was my bad. I corrected it. It's 329 where you had that drop off on trend. So it broke trend, got there, did not get that 320. Is like 325.9 add, unfortunately, but looks like we're headed right back in. Maybe you hold VWAP, but with the market still looking relatively weak, I should say, is the best way to think about it. Give a chance for the shorts to work. I did continue to take off at first level here in Intel, just waiting for it to actually flush, but it's holding and leveling off. And the way it's doing so, I don't necessarily love. Did not get back into Mara, as you can see at VWAP. I left the order in the off chance that I would get picked back up again. That's back at the low of the days, in addition to Bitcoin. And Nvidia, the market is off of the lows by about, the Nasdaq's 140 points or 130 points or so from the low. Nvidia is about to retake 170 to the downside and really leading us lower. So I'm kind of thinking if this breaks lower, then the shorts that haven't followed through should start to follow through, and we can get a bit of a win going there. We'll see. I mean, we've been trying to sit in these shorts and give them a chance to go all morning long. And if we don't get back to the low of the day, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to take the wins. I should be listening. I should be getting out of this.
Yeah,
This is twice that this broke trend on Mara, and I didn't fully cover here. This time it breaks trend at the same double bottom at yesterday's open range high. I had to get out. Like, come on. That's just a rule for me. And if it ends up going lower, I need to find myself back into this short somewhere near those highs. So I'm going to get out of Mara, listen to my rules, and wait for an opportunity to get back into the trade. So Mara's worked. Oddly enough, the only thing that hasn't worked for me is Oscar. So if I pull this chart up and it's at $18, that's a mega fail. See, it still hasn't retaken 17, hasn't really held VWAP, so I guess I shouldn't be back into this. Oscar doing nothing on day, well, it's not really earnings. It's like healthcare rally day 2, let's call it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
No hold of the breakout, no test of the low. No trade for me again on Oscar, I guess.
I wish there was no trade for me again on Tesla, but we're not doing that bad actually on it. As we had noticed, I said like maybe the shorts win, right? And so we got out, like as Neil was talking, the lowest one is 407.50. So we're able to capture some outs there. So we did put a win back on, but breaking through 405 is gone for me. I'm going to give this a little bit more room. Excuse me. We're already at the lows. The problem here is that the Nasdaq was going up and Tesla was not. So that's why I was like, I'm getting out, and just hoping that we did have this kind of a move back in. So here it comes back up. If we could take some out at 407 and then try to let the rest run, like just trying not to have like this epic hit right now it's not going to be epic because we don't have that many shares, but just trying to absorb this move down on Tesla right now because we've seen where it can go when it goes. And, last time we made, there it goes, go this time. Last time we kind of bottomed out right around here, 407, and went to 413, in a straight line right there. So capture some more outs as we've been doing here on AMD, but at the same time, we have way more shares now on this Tesla trade because of the price. We're flat on it right now. Let's see if it gets back to the upside right here. Go. There it is. We'll take this out, 407.20. Why not? Take some more out here on Tesla as we continue to rise just a little bit now. So good. There it goes. Let's see if we can make this back on TSLA. So far, so good, but need a little bit more if we're going to make it back. Go Tesla, 408 out, and then 409, and then we'll wait to see if we can get that 410 50 period moving average, and then, amen, bottom of the day to VWAP is generally as good as you can get. So that 411 is kind of the target. Between 410 to 411, there it is, there's my 408. 410 to 411, best case scenario, I think anyways, for TSLA. Dara?
I like that transition there, Sean. I had to tell you guys about PayPal, PYPL, PayPal and Perplexity launching an instant buy. I guess they're just calling it instant buy ahead of Black Friday, with PayPal rolling out a new incentive for users to try AI-powered commerce. So AI-related tie-up here, Perplexity and PayPal, PYPL, pushing a little bit higher. And this name is actually relatively strong on the day, guys. Back to you.
Is this the time for PayPal? Oh my goodness, maybe this is finally going to happen for PayPal. There's been a big-time seller on PayPal for a while. I'll get to that chart in a quick little second, but IBIT is breaking trend. So I got out of Mara, which made sense. Obviously, it made sense at the time based on its chart, but all of a sudden, with IBIT trying to break this all morning long trend, go right from the drop at 8:30, and now you've closed above the bar, and we're at the volume weighted average price. So into some IBIT here. Going to give its prior bar low will be like 49.06 or so. So going to throw my stop in there. Now we're reverse long. I wanted to just be long this instead of, I could have gone to Mara or something, but I like Mara for short. And I like this. I'd just rather go here for the long side of the trade. So IBIT's starting to go. Nvidia holds 170. That's headed back higher. The Nasdaq's also going to be at VWAP. Intel just broke the top. So the last salvo in Intel, it just didn't want to go. Like it held the line, but ultimately it breaks the high. What are you going to do? Like we're short to that level, it breaks that level, we get out. It never really followed through the same way that Mara did. But now looking long. Nasdaq broke through, Bitcoin broke through. Google's still pretty much where I sold it. But yeah. Got a nice long on here. We'll look for 49.45. That'll be that top that we had at the open.
All right, nice long over there, of course, in IBIT. We've got $3 in Tesla. So hats off to everybody out there. What's up? JIN there held on to Reddit because I liked it. Yeah, I mean, I really do like Reddit, but I don't hold any in my account, so it looks like you're the smart person out there because I did not buy any Reddit, and I should have. And I do really like the stock. You are 100% right. Go right now. Yes, $3, Neil. Let's go on Tesla right now, man. Get excited out there, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue to make new highs there, new highs. Period high. Tesla just bounced off that 409.50. We got some out there. But 180, yeah, great move on Reddit. I really like Reddit, like I said. I think that they're sort of one of those misused gems right here. And we did get good report of, you know, when you search and you use chat or wherever, you can sometimes see, and especially Grok, I see that it, you know, skims through Reddit and things like that. So yeah, don't Reddit and forget it. Reddit and buy it, I think, right there. If we do get another move back in, Reddit's not a bad name to pick on. I was, you know, looking at other things. You know, Baba, again, it would have been better to buy Reddit for sure. Alibaba on earnings day. I'm okay that it's down today, but this is another name that we're long at 160. That's just fell back in there again. And then we did buy some for the longer term. As I said, I looked at the account yesterday and was actually surprisingly, you know, how well we're holding up in this recent downturn. But there goes Uber. You know, again, it's because I've rotated a lot into indexes there too. So like with the Nasdaq only now being down, you know, 4% from its highs, you're not really bleeding that much, and the ES just turned green. So I actually hold more SPY than I do the Qs. So I hold more Nasdaq, more ES than I do Nasdaq, just because of where I'm, you know, positioned in my individual names. A lot of them are Nasdaq related names, right? So like a Marvell. Marvell's one that we were buying hopefully on the cheap down here. We bought Marvell at 60 and change down there. Had this huge run up where SoftBank was like, we may want to join you with ARM, and we had a big position in Marvell, but that's fallen back in. And Marvell competes with Broadcom. You know, so you know, they're in the same space, but at the end of the day, there can only be a few winners. And right now, the market has sort of anointed Broadcom as the winner there. But Marvell still has a spot there with the silicon, but they are, you know, helping with some of the high quality chip production. And right now, AVGO and Broadcom, nice tie up with the TPU, the tensor processing units with Google and AVGO. So as Google continues to rise a little bit on positive TPU news, as does Broadcom. And unfortunately, they have the deal with Google, not Marvell. Marvell is, like I said, it's somewhat of a competitor with Google, so with Broadcom. So you got to watch out for that. More outs, like we are now under that 5% mark for AMD. So Justin Timberlake would say, cry me a river on the way back up, man. I don't have any, this has been an absolute monster of a stock. We'll basically be flat on the day. We lost on Tesla early, and we made back what we lost with AMD, and included in that is this current Tesla position. You know, I need to get out of this one to make the net work. So let's see if this continues to climb. I still really like Tesla today. I said where our target was, first to 50 period moving average. So there's the 21. There's a bunch of outs. Like we took 409.50s, and then we took well, that's 409.50, 409.25s, 409.50, and look, we are bouncing again off the 50 period. So if we could take that, then we level up our game, and then we see these tops right here, 410.50. So I'm going to put an offer now at 410, like 40, to get out of a little bit there. If we, you know, if it does make that move back up into there, call that a win, and really worry about 405. You know, if 405 comes in, then that's a problem. So we probably won't average back in unless we get a 406 again, giving it that $1. But risk to reward so far so good there on TSLA. You're still in IBIT. So yeah, I mean, the market just goes up and down today. And right now, it shows down. So
I think we just wicked VWAP though.
That's exactly what it is, yeah.
Yeah, I think ultimately it's kind of weird. This is one of those mornings where I just keep seeing the same pattern over and over again. And this one's a different wedge, but it's sort of the same idea that Google was doing. We had these higher lows from the bottom, and you've got these lower highs forming a wedge, and you got to break one way or the other. So just being patient and trying to be a little bit precise with the entries here. You know, if we broke higher, like IBIT broke its wedge upside, so therefore I like the long. And if we can hold on to the top end of this range, then I will continue to like the long. But it's not even holding directly at VWAP currently. And I look over at Google, which for everything that was happening, Google seemed like it was on that trend higher. Now it's starting to break down. So I think at this point, like, you're better off, like, just take the scalp trade, get what you can get, and then don't be upset. Sometimes I'll get out and it looks genius because you happen to get the top wick. But trust me, you guys watch the show enough. How many times do I get out like this and then it goes like 331? You just have to sort of trade it the way that you see it each time and be consistent. If you're holding that for a $6 or $7 winner, then great. If you're scalping it for a $2 winner, then just be consistent with that and make sure your risk to reward does hold up. Overall, I just want to go back over to Nvidia to show you guys, if I don't get this bounce in Bitcoin, Nvidia is making a strong attempt at the volume weighted average price. So if something's going to take us higher to get this breakup, I feel like it's going to be Nvidia. And I know Bitcoin doesn't really have anything technically to do with Nvidia, but it is a risk on asset. So if I see Nvidia making a hard turn or the futures losing VWAP here, then I might not favor this reload and giving it to the prior bar. I can elect to just not get in because I see a little bit too much weakness in the market. Just let us know what else you guys are watching in here. I know we have missed a bunch of other symbols out there today, and it's just what's going to happen on day like today. When Zoom had earnings and is, it's zooming to the upside.
Ooh.
I don't have a better put. 12% for Zoom. Remember when I said this morning, Zoom's a heck of a lot more exciting if it breaks out this top on the daily? Well, that's potentially happening $1 from now. I didn't see that coming. I really didn't think Zoom had this in it, but it seems like it does. So if you zoom out, or whatever, that was completely unintentional. If you actually pull back on the chart here, there's no other way to say it, this is all the way going back to 2022 resistance on Zoom. And it's about $89. That's what it has out in front of it. On day one, do I think it breaks it clean being up 12%? Nope. I don't think so. It seems a little bit too much for me, but I'm certainly not going to go shorting it. This could be a nice little swing break. Give it a 3-day rule, but if this holds up, I'm making the presumption that it breaks 89 here, but let's say it breaks 89 and it holds up for the next few days above this prior resistance, this is a good-looking technical breakout on Zoom. It hasn't happened yet, by the way. It's just got there faster than I expected. I thought we'd be coming back, set an alert, come back 2 or 3 days later, or I guess because of the holiday, maybe next week, and then you would take a shot at Zoom. It said, we're not waiting for anybody. All right, so there's the hold of VWAP on IBIT. I'll see if I can add to it here. Market kind of at a tipping point, or yeah, it is at a tipping point because it's at VWAP when NVIDIA's at VWAP. But for now, IBIT's over, so I can continue to play the long.
Yeah, right now, if you look at what we're doing on Tesla here, look at this, man. This is in between the 50 and the 21 and in between. So I took an in-between print, and there we go. Now we get a 409. We get a top-end print of this, and now we'll see if we can rip back to the upside here and break through. I'm actually going to, because we just got a piece out there at 409, remember our stop, we were putting something here. I'm going to put now an offer at 410 instead of 410.50. So 409.85. Let's put a little bit there, and then let's put our offer back to 410. And we're just adjusting our shares because, I want to let this thing work, which we are doing right now to the upside, especially as we just keep on saying the futures are at a decision point right now. So we're going to let it make a decision, and hopefully the decision it makes is choosing green. So I'm going to put another bid. We punch out some 43s right there on AMD to get under 2. Now we have that 2.5% left right there. What's up, Erie Pages, man? Love those dark almond chocolates there. Yeah, some of the best, man. The dark chocolate is so much better than milk chocolate, in my opinion, obviously.
Not even close.
A little bit of a healthy choice
better for you
there as well. So shout out to Erie Pages doing the best over there. So thank you for your continued support right here.
Well, that's a right turn on Google.
Right turn which way?
Right turn is down. Well, let's see. To me, like right, you go this way on the chart, and then up would be a left turn and right. So down and to the right, but the charts only ever go to the right. But no, looking pretty nasty. That's a heck of a curl on Google. If that's happening, I'm just going to cancel a reload on IBIT for now, and let's go to the dare at the desk.
You guys would not know it from the start of the day, but this market, as it likes to do, has made a really impressive recovery for the most part. Pretty big caveat there. Finance sector really green today. Health technology, once again. Eli Lilly, would you believe it, making another new all-time high. Producer manufacturing, pretty mixed. You've got some strength in AMAT, but LRCX and GEV quite weak, though the rest of the sector, again, doing pretty well. Consumer services, great look. Consumer durables, with the exception of Tesla, is really strong. Transportation, strong. Health services, strong, as Neil mentioned yet again. Commercial services, also strong. And retail trade, with the exception of its Mag 7 component here, Amazon is doing really well today. Do you want to talk about tech sectors a little bit more in detail? It's worth noting here, Nvidia, AMD, and to a much lesser extent, Broadcom trading lower today. I just saw a note here from Bank of America saying that amidst the intensifying competition for TPUs, you should buy all three of those tickers. So again, B of A with a very bullish note on Nvidia, AMD, and Broadcom. If you go to tech services side of things, kind of random patches of weakness here. App11 down, Netflix down, Palantir down, Oracle down, but Meta and Google both strong, of course, with the reports from the information suggesting that the company are going to enter a deal. Again, Meta looking for Google's AI chip. So interesting look for these sectors. Gets a little bit muddier if you look at tech, but the rest of the market generally quite strong. Back to you. Make sure to like and subscribe.
Let's turn to Sean. Remember how we couldn't find the specific reason why CCL was doing what it did yesterday?
Someone did, I guess, and thought it was wrong.
Yeah, now look at that.
So I did hear that there was cautious comments by the CEO at some point yesterday. I don't know where he was talking or what. Did you ever find? Adair had left. So I didn't know Adair had left yesterday during the afternoon, and we were like, Adair, what's the news on CCL?
I had an appointment.
No, it's fine.
We just didn't know.
We didn't know. I was like, okay, we'll wait for Adair.
That's
She's
fair.
probably grabbing a coffee or something.
No, I was all the way in another part of town, but I will look into the CCL stuff.
Yeah, okay, good. So, and the point, the story we were getting at, was that we all looked, like we had Brendan, we all had sort of looked for a story there on CCL yesterday midday, only to find nothing. So,
and it reversed the entire move.
Yeah,
figure, right?
Yeah. So to your point there, maybe there was nothing on Sir CCL. Right now. Okay, some super chats have been piling in, so let's go. All right, I think the spike in Intel was from a TrendForce article claiming Intel might be in line to supply packaging tech to Google for their next gen TPU V9. Yeah, I mean,
I don't know how lucrative that would be, except what that means, but
yeah, like, look, Intel's back to flat on the day. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with the stock. I just, we see AMD getting pulled down to the downside, and it's just, there's no surprise here that, Intel gets a choppy little beginning here in and around 40 at the top and then just fades completely back in. But look where he bounced off 33. So I'm a little nervous for Intel trying to hold that 33. I may actually get into the old account here today and take another piece out of Intel. I'm a little nervous about this. We were very lucky to get it out. Like, we first got some out here on this move up because we're still long at 19. So in there, out, and then that first move back up into the 30s and 40s with this right here. We got a piece out right here. So you got to go all the way back to last summer where we see a little bit of supply and demand push and pull here at 33 to 34. So, all right, that was one super chat. We're going to go to Adara, and then there's another couple of super chats that we're going to address. Thanks, Andre. But what's up, Adara?
I looked into CCL. So there was a story from this morning, and it's not really a CCL story, though it is tangentially related. Basically, the CEO of CCL, Josh Weinstein, just joined Chipotle's board of directors. I have not seen anything with regards to the CEO, again, Josh Weinstein, as of yesterday. Some people in the chat mentioning he did a Bloomberg interview. But again, a lot of this strength today, I would guess, has to do with the weakness in oil, because we know these names usually trade in antipathy to one another. The travel names are very strong when oil is weak. The travel names are very weak when oil is strong. So that would be, as far as I can tell, for today. But also congratulations to Josh Weinstein, I guess, for joining Chipotle's board. Back to you.
Thank you, Adara. But right here, man, there it is, man. It's the face slapper. It is a monster right now for Tesla. So we'll props it up right now, man. And there it goes, Tesla to the moon, as some people say and some people don't. But there it goes, Tesla right now. 450 now in the money on Tesla. And just watching out for this AMD, man. I mean, we could cover some more right here at 50, but we only have 2% left. AMD is the banger of the day, man, for me, P&L wise. It was such a nice move downside there off of VWAP. But I'm just going to cover here at VWAP and just say it is what it is. But there we go, man. It's a monster right there. We do have a new position. The TQs came right into our lap again here. So let's wait to see if something happens there off the 200 period moving average on the TQQ. But wow, man, what a day for me now on Tesla as it all turns around. Stay in your positions, you know, if they still make any sense. And for me, we got back into Tesla at these lows. So that was kind of, I don't want to say lucky because it's not lucky. I mean, I'm sitting here trading and discussing it with you every time. But waiting for those lows was important. So we did do that. So shout out to Christopher Ocean and all the traders out there that had a little bit of patience with their positions today, especially that way. But I'm a little nervous here for these TQ trade as that looks like it wants to break through. $51, and I think we can get out of TQQ over here. But nice move to the high side for now.
Yeah, the Nasdaq seems to want green, at least for now. The ES is already like well in the green, like almost 0.3% to the upside. Just so very quickly, if I trend in, I'm going to trend out. So trend break on IBIT, there's the new trend. If we break that 49, 45-ish, it's like a couple pennies underneath, then I jump out, look for the reload. Otherwise, this could get all the way up to like 49.75 and test that 88,000 level. And another super chat, can't get right. Can't get right. It's
if you can't get right, then yeah. That's
is can't get right from the Martin Lawrence show, or I'm trying to remember. It's a character on something that I used to watch. I can't forget it. Mr. Neil, Mr. Sean, thoughts on WSHP? Oh, that's that We Shop. Okay, I remember this one.
Oh boy.
No, this was that. This was the one that halted like a bajillion times the other day. Yeah, this is. My thoughts are I'm not, with a 10-foot pole, you couldn't get me to trade this. It's halted, maybe it's not halted right now. It's just not trading. 22,000 shares worth of volume, and it's a $200 stock with a $10 spread. Yeah, if you got it the other day early on, congratulations to you. But I feel like it probably trapped a few people in this range. Again, these are very tricky to trade unless you're in very, very early on a break. It's so incredibly illiquid. That's 22 total thousand shares have traded. 22,000. That's nothing. Like you make a keystroke error and you're essentially done because of the lack of liquidity. So I don't have any thoughts about this. I think if for whatever reason you were in this one earlier, like I'm talking about last week and got it as it was starting to go, great. But outside of that, hands off.
So
another.
There it is. Let's go, man. There's the TQQ short. So we short the futures, man. We go right back to what we're doing and putting us green. So, you know, we're going to be green today. And obviously we talked about that huge move in Tesla, really giving it to us. Remember I said the target zone for me was 411. So there's 411. So we're taking more out right now, 411.30, 411.50, man, as we're proving, hopefully we're proving our worth right now. Make sure you do hit the like and the subscribe, man. I mean, if I haven't earned it today, then I don't know, because it was such a good battle back. We discussed what's going on there with Tesla. Neil had that good Google trade. And then here we go right back in right now. Boom, for the futures. So I'm not even on the futures. There's the futures, man. This is a big trade alert right now, big one for us here on the TQQs as it just comes right into our lap, man. Nice move lower here on this. Let's start to cover just a little bit here and see if we can get out of half. We still have 60%. Here we go. Yes, we get 31s. Let's go. It's a hot dog cannon kind of a day right here for traders as we celebrate a nice little move downside on the futures, man. We nailed that one perfectly. So that was a good trade there. And getting out almost perfectly on Tesla as well. So yeah, man, everything's sort of turning up for us there. So we talked about 411. Let's get another piece out here. So we'll take another piece out at 411. But yeah, great look there on the futures, if anybody was in that with me. But there it goes. Nice move to the downside for the TQs and the Nasdaq. So yeah, there it is. What's up, Bills Camp? Hopefully you guys are enjoying the show so far today. And yeah, man, we are on one again there today. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, it's a great day trading today, no questions asked. But the only regret I have is not taking every single trend break because we put the trend lines up there, but ultimately I was bullish on Google, not bearish. So when this trend broke, we already saw what happened. You can get rid of this trend line that got me in. I don't think it's very relevant right now. But Google, that ends up being top. And for the same reason I got out of Google, I got out of IBIT as well. Like it goes trend up. We join it when it breaks, the downtrend, we get out pretty simply. So it'll stick to that kind of trade action for myself because it's a little bit more precise. If it breaks a trend, it's kind of like you're in here, you know exactly where you want to be able to jump out of the trade for sure. But if we are in the midst of another reverse, which I'm not completely convinced yet, on IBIT specifically because it's holding the volume weighted average price. Wow. But if we lose VWAP, then I would jump back over to Mara, which is actually still working short. So I jumped out of Mara short because I went IBIT long, and it doesn't make sense. If IBIT continues, and obviously Mara's going to as well, but Mara still hasn't broken out that $11 and is losing VWAP. So if we lose VWAP for good here, I just jump right back over to Mara. Mara worked all morning for short. Bitcoin worked one time for a long, as far as I'm concerned. Let's go over to Adara. I believe we got to do a little money talks.
Sure.
Yeah, this DXY continuing to kind of do what it's been doing in the daily as of late. This uptrend with multiple days of buying, multiple days of selling ad nauseum, but again, kind of pushing higher. That being said, we had a lot of trouble here. Now we've rejected a couple times that 100.3 level, and today a big push down here for the US dollar. Let's see if this uptrend holds against support here. Onset uptrend would be 98.9, basically 99. So if we could hold 99, good look for the USD right now around 99.8. We've talked about all the economic data we got today, or at least, as quickly as we can. I just saw a note saying that UBS is expecting inflation to rise in the US in the first half of 2026. But with regards to the numbers we actually got, it was an incredibly mixed bag. Retail sales actually lower than expected, 0.2% versus 0.4% expected for September. And then we'll get into the PPI prints because some were hotter, some were colder, some were in line. PPI year over year hotter than expected, 2.7%. PPI month over month in line with expectations, 0.3%. Now, both the core PPI prints were going to be slightly cooler than expected, 2.6% versus 2.7% expected for year over year core PPI. Core PPI month over month, 0.1% versus 0.2% expected. Then the 10 a.m. numbers, the biggest one here, CB consumer confidence, which came in well below expectations, 88.7 here versus 93.3, though it didn't seem to move the market too much. Let's talk here about the CME Fed Watch tool because we are expecting now 83% of participants almost expecting that cut. And as I was mentioning to Brendan this morning, because we haven't had a lot of economic data, a lot of these changes seem to have to do with Fed speak and optimism or pessimism from Fed speakers, with Fed's Waller, Williams, and I guess most recently Fed's Daily all coming out suggesting that they would support that December cut. This seems to have given the market a little bit of optimism here that we could be getting that 25 basis point cut. It's currently priced in, but guys, we still have a handful of days until the December 10th meeting. And if you've seen this market before and this indicator, anything can happen in 15 days. Back to you.
Well, anything can happen in 15 days, but what isn't going to happen is the data that they're looking for in that 15 days, unfortunately. So it's hard to imagine what will change things from now till then. And if there is something that I'm missing that'll change the Fed's opinion, let me know. Data-wise, I can't see it. So I think you stay the course. Kalshi has had it very right. Outside of this SNDK thing, Kalshi's been pretty good. Every time I check it for financial stuff, but nobody saw SNDK. I don't think anybody saw SNDK going into the S&P 500. It wasn't even on the top 5. It wasn't even like 6, 7, or 8. It just wasn't even on the list as far as I could tell. So quickly here, Nvidia might break out. So that would be a positive to go back over to the IBIT long if it breaks out 173. As you can see it bouncing off of VWAP. Just looking for a little confluence. For now, you're still holding above the trend line, so going to hop back on the bid as I fight a sneeze of IBIT. Is it still holding a mild uptrend? More of a scalp range, but this is the same area that it broke out yesterday. Like yesterday was about 87, it's the same level, like 87,000 in the afternoon where it broke through. So this plays in both directions. You lose this level, you could easily, backfill the entirety of the day, or we can get the same level support breakout here for IBIT. And Alamo, I have not looked at any small caps I mean, outside of, I guess technically Mara counts, I suppose. But Nuke would fall into, I know the old Sharifage holds on to the volume weighted average price and is going higher. However, look at that topping tail candle. Biggest volume candle of the day on the reversal at $7 on Nuke. I'm just going to call it Nuke because it's NUKK. I don't really know what the name of the company is. And on top of that, look at the daily chart. That same $7, it's a 50 period and the last line of resistance going back to, that's like the beginning of November. So while it's above VWAP, the fact that it rejected that level with that much volume, I don't like it. So I'd probably be staying away from this long at VWAP myself, even though it is, technically qualifies because it's above VWAP. I just don't like where the turn came in. I feel like the early trade into that 7 is where you wanted to be for NUKK.
All right, welcome everybody. We're about to hand it off over there to Obi and to Joe, so that should be a lot of fun, and I just hope that you guys have been having so far some luck here today, and just been able to catch some of these moves. I mean, they've been definitely pretty wild. It's funny, Obi's off air, and I just look over, and the guy's giving a lot of props. So thank you, Obi, for that, man. Always very kind and always much appreciated. As we're, a trading community here, and I definitely appreciate that, Obi. So thank you so much there. This is sniper action activated, Obi, as we snipe that short, like right, boom, really creating. Again, it's hard to get the smile off my face normally, anyways. But when we're hitting that, and we're hitting this. Back upside, like it's been a really good battle back. We started the day off a little rough by getting hit there with Tesla, but yeah, no more there. And then we nailed the AMD short. I mean, this was huge for me. So really happy to be able to do that. And again, put up some numbers there today. So far, so good. But hey, man, we got to make sure that you guys pay attention, because with just one stock, 3D Capital gets you that exposure to nearly 60 plus early stage plays in AI, blockchain, biotech, and more. So get ready for 3D Capital. This is led by a CEO who last deal returned 150 times. I'll take that. 3D trades under the symbol IDK over here in the CSE, or of course, IDKFF. On the OTC market. Subscribe to their YouTube channel, and you can also win right now over $1,000. So they'll be doing some interviews and some deep dives on some of their innovations. So type, if this is an ETF that's interested to you, go check them out. It's 3D, it's IDK and IDKFF. So we want to thank them for their sponsorship. And we also got to make sure that we do, really the reason why Joe's here, is to figure out what's for lunch, Oh, by the way, there goes Tesla, man. Tesla's absolutely ripping again right now. So far, so good over there. Today's pretty good. I mean, I think we should like this. We'll give it a shot here. And it's been pretty good every time they make some beef. But here we go, beef stew today. So I like the beef stew. It's a little chillier outside. Get some beef stew going on there with garlic mashed potatoes. If you're going to have mashed potatoes, why not throw some garlic in there? I think that's a win. Steamed vegetables and a side salad. So beef stew, garlic mash, steamed veg, and winners abound here.
Kind of hard to mess that up.
With Tesla.
I wasn't feeling the waffles this morning.
I didn't have any waffles, but there we go right now. Up to 411.50 goes Tesla. So far, so good here, man. TSLA really doing the best now. We'll leave you with a $5 winner on board here with Tesla. AMD's just doing its own thing. We have no shares left on that. And then the futures trying to dance around here. My latest little snipe there on the TQQs with only 30 seconds left.
Yeah, only about 30 seconds to go, everybody. And just quickly, I know we haven't talked about this. BMNR, I see you there. IBIT just bounced off VWAP, so there's the bottom and tail of VWAP, so jump back into the long. I already said this with regards to Mara. So if you're looking at BMNR, I would think of it the same way. If Bitcoin loses that bid, I would suspect that this bull run in BMNR could also come to a bit of a halt. But it's trying to go green. If we hold on and this, Bitcoin gets back to the highs, I know ETH obviously is going to follow it a little bit. BMNR is in a heck of a potential. I shouldn't call it a heck of a bounce. Potential bounce is what I should say, because when you look at the daily chart, it really doesn't do much. But it is a very good rounded bottom on BMNR. So this is one to watch. If we get back to the highs on BTC and ETH is breaking out, this is one that should be in the pocket for a potential breakout trade. But I'm going to stick with IBIT, which is holding at VWAP. BMNR is kind of in the middle of nowhere. Thank you, everybody. It's been a fun one this morning. We'll be back at 2 o'clock. And remember, this is an everyday thing now, starting at 8 o'clock, getting a little bit more preparation, going through all the numbers. Not that they were a big deal because they were September numbers this morning, a little bit delayed. But we'll be back at 2. For now, you've got Joby in full effect.
Right.